Want to go deeper with Lobbing Scorchers? You know, scratch under the surface, get down even dirtier than we already get? Become a YouTube member. Sometimes things just get a little too spicy, a little too weird, and a little too loose for the general public. And you know, the people to see that are YouTube members. We're talking about exclusive bonus videos, the podcast after show, exclusive written content, and little bits and pieces of information before the unwashed masses know about it. As a member, you not only get access to all of this amazing content, you get a badge next to your name and a slew of amazing emotes to use, not only in our live stream chat, but also in our comments section. And yes, we do have an emote for Jesus Ferreira, Go Snack, and Paul Rothrock. This is the best way to help keep us independent and keep us building out this crazy YouTube brand that we call Lobbing Scorchers. Hit the join button down below or hit the link in the top of our description if you're on mobile to join the ranks and become a Lobbing Scorchers YouTube member.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Lobbing Scorchers Under the Lights. It's an off-season episode, at least for the Seattle Sounders, but we still have a lot to get to tonight. I think we have as much to get to for this episode as we would if it wasn't the off-season. We got Noah here. It is MLS schedule release day, which is always an exciting day. I think I learned today that I like schedule release day more than most. But we're gonna be looking at some league-wide games and dates, important dates for the schedule, and then we're going to be pulling up the Seattle Sounders schedule. And yeah, you know when pundits say they got that one circled on the calendar, we're going to go through the calendar and we're going to find the ones that they're going to say that about. We're going to circle them ourselves, and then later on in the show, we've got Philadelphia Union sporting director Ernst Tanner. He is roiled in scandal and turmoil after an explosive report from Pablo Maurer in The Guardian. We're going to react to that. And then to close her out later, dive into a little more USMNT punditry. I have some more thoughts after Nico and I talked about the USMNT on kickoff on Monday. They played the Uruguay friendly. So we're going to talk about that. Noah, what's going on, man? Thanks for tapping in. Happy schedule release day. How are you feeling?
Well, happy schedule release day to you too. It's a joy to be here. It's a pleasure to be here as always. I mean, you know, off season, people don't believe it, but it's actually like 10 times busier than the regular season for us because there's just always stuff going on. Like, yeah. It's crazy.
We haven't even gotten to like roster maneuvering and all that stuff yet. That's going to be its whole own ball game. But schedule release day is, I mean, do you like schedule release day? I love schedule release day. I love looking at the Sounders schedule and being like, oh, that let's make that road trip, or that's when that's going on. Or are you more of just like, I don't care about the schedule?
I mean, I think for the aspect of like us, you know, and our traveling and stuff like that, like absolutely that's fun and I enjoy that. But generally speaking, like I don't really care that much. I think that there are like interesting matchups that I would genuinely always look for. Like, okay, like yeah, obviously I want to play Messi. Obviously I want to play, you know, I want some like fun matchups. But like I looked at the schedule and I was just like, okay, like there's not even any like interesting trips really. Like
Buster's saying the same thing in chat. He's saying the schedule looks boring. All right. Yeah. Maybe I'm the only one who was excited about it. I mean,
I'm excited. You know what I'm really excited for is LAFC versus Inter Miami opening day. I think MLS killed it with that. That's a great matchup.
Yeah, see, there's some good ones. I mean, the Sounders schedule, I agree. There wasn't anything that I thought was overly crazy about it, but I mean,
so they better win the league. They better win Shield.
That's your early analysis. Like it's supporter
if
Shield.
It's boring, you better win Shield. I don't know.
There is like I always go through it and do the thing of, oh, that should be a win. That's probably going to be an L.
We don't even know who's going to be back next year yet.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like,
yeah,
no idea. But I'm excited to talk about it. We're not going to spend like all night on it, but we are going to look at the important dates, key info, and the Sounders schedule. Before we get into it all tonight, please like the video. So if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? sub to the channel. We're on the road to 3K subs, which I want that milestone. We're closing in. So
Yeah.
if you haven't done so yet, drop us a sub. All it takes is a click of the mouse, and it'll help us on that road to 3K. Also, follow us on IG, TikTok, all
We're at
social
3K
media.
on there.
We are at 3K on IG, so help us on the road to 4K there. And buy the Lobbing Scorchers hot sauce. It's still out there. LobbingScorchers.com/sauce. Shout out Hacks and Ferments. And as always, if you guys have questions, observations, agendas, grievances, whatever the case may be, feel free to drop them in chat. We'll get to as many as we can. Don't be afraid to make it a super chat, because that guarantees that we'll read it. So I'm just saying.
Listen, it's Thursday, November 20th. There's no Sounders games, and yet we're still here grinding it out for the sickos and the freaks. So,
and we're gonna keep doing so all off season. I will say, I'm taking next week off. So
me too.
We hadn't talked about that, but I'm leaving for Thanksgiving on Sunday, and I'm definitely not doing kickoff on 7:30 on Thanksgiving, sorry, I'm definitely not doing under the lights at 7:30 on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, no Thanksgiving, no Thanksgiving UTL.
Yeah, so if I'm not doing Thanksgiving UTL, I may as well just take a Monday off kick as well. So
we haven't discussed it, but I'm like, man, maybe we should take an extended just vacation, because I don't think either of us have really taken much time. I took a little bit off, like in the in between of Club World Cup, but you have not.
There's no off season for Lobbing Scorchers.
No.
I'll be back at it on the week after Thanksgiving. There's going to be a lot of content for us to discuss in December, in January. So maybe we'll take a few more days off here and there over the off season, but I'm not planning on taking that many. I think I'm going to relatively adhere to our normal schedule. All right, Noah, let's talk about this schedule release. Apparently I'm the only one excited about it, so we don't have to
Did the Sounders even do anything fun for it? Like, normally, people will do those like schedule release videos, they have fun with it. I felt like the Sounders just posted a graphic and were like, fuck it.
Yeah, it kind of
that was kind of lame. I'm sorry. Like, I love the Sounders PR team. I think they're some of the best in the business, but what was that?
Well, I don't know if I saw that much hype league wide for it. It felt like a more maybe everyone's just over the schedule.
Maybe, yeah.
Release. I thought in most sports the schedule release was like an exciting day, but I think regardless of excitement levels, there's stuff that is pertinent, matchups to look at. So let's do that. The first thing I'm going to do here is pull up the trusty website, MajorLeagueSoccer.com.
We love MajorLeagueSoccer.com.
We love them around here. Great website. They have compiled a list of the most important dates and key info here. So let's just take a look at this, and we can see how it all shaped out. You got the Diego Luna graphic there. So the first key dates we've got: MLS is back weekend, February 21st, 22nd. Mark your calendars. That is match day 1 in kind of mid-late February, which is around when it usually is. Inter Miami CF. This is funny. Inter Miami CF opened up their new stadium, which is called Miami Freedom Park.
That's so stupid.
We now have America First Field and Miami Freedom Park in the same league. So
no comment. No comment.
This I think is an interesting detail. The FIFA World Cup pause May 25th to July 16th. That's a very long pause, almost 2 months. What do you think of that?
I mean, it makes sense. It's the World Cup and it's here. They're not going to have anywhere to why would you even attempt to compete with?
But that's the whole league. It's not like it's just the hosting cities are taking it off. But
it just why would you even attempt to compete with the World Cup? Like, soccer fans are going to be, if they're not in the city that games are happening, there's a more likely chance that they're traveling to go to games or it's a smart business move to just not play during then and then bookend the stuff with more matches so that you can kind of take the momentum of the summer soccer and get more players or get more fans in the door.
You know what I think is the upshot of having a really long break like that in the middle of the season is that May to July in your typical MLS season under the current calendar, that's kind of the time of year where everyone starts to get beat to shit.
Yeah, it's shit.
All the injuries start popping up and you have to play these crazy lineups because everyone's hurt and all that stuff. this provides a period of time in the middle of the season where in late May you shut it down unless you got guys playing in the World Cup. But a lot of guys are going to be able to just shut it down, recharge, and get healthy. And I think we're going to find when we get to that time that that's going to be kind of a godsend, because the middle of the MLS season, the dog days, those summer days, those can be a challenge, to say the least, to field a first choice starting 11. I'm also thinking about a guy like Pedro de la Vega, who is working his way back from injury and should theoretically be healthy before May 25th, but he's going to be in like a extended ramp up period. And for guys like that,
he's not going to play a full match all season. No shot.
I mean, if he's got a 2-month break in the middle of the season, maybe after that he'll be good to go. Who knows? Either way, I do think, like, De La Vega aside, I think we're going to get to May 25th and be like, thank God. All right, let's just get everyone recalibrated, get everyone healthy, and pick back up on July 17th. And that's going to be a fun summer, man. We're going to be grinding World Cup coverage the whole time.
Yeah, if they let me in.
That's kind of cool. I mean, you might have to get your way off the FIFA blacklist, but
yep.
Assuming you do that,
yeah.
And even if you're banned from the premises, you can still pod about it. So
that's true. I can pod in an adjacent studio. I'll be like the FBI watching through some binoculars,
surveilling the World Cup. That's an important role.
I'm surveilling FIFA, and they're surveilling me back.
And then you got All-Star Game July 29th in Charlotte, and then Decision Day.
We're still doing that?
November 7th. The All-Star Game?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird timing. It's pretty close to like right when the World Cup. They should have had the All-Star Game go during the World Cup.
That would be so fun.
That would have been a popular decision.
That would have been so good. Imagine.
They still call it MLS is Back weekend, which I wish they wouldn't call it that, because it just makes me think of the MLS is Back tournament.
Yeah, that's like improper branding, like brand management, because like MLS is Back was its own tournament, and if it's a weekend, therefore there should be like the table at the end of that weekend should be crowned the winner of MLS is Back.
I was going to say, if the Portland Timbies win their first game of the season in match day 1, they should hang another MLS is Back
I think so. Yeah.
Like that's I don't see the anything to go against that logic. You got they've got the marquee matchups of MLS is Back weekend here with St. Louis City SC versus Charlotte FC.
Wow, riveting.
That's a banger matchup.
Yeah.
LAFC versus Inter Miami, like you said, actually is.
And then Messi.
Exactly. And then the LA Galaxy versus New York City is also going to be on Sunday. Seattle Sounders snubbed in the Major League Soccer listing right here, because the Sounders opened the season on that same Sunday against the Colorado Rapids. How is Seattle Sounders versus Colorado Rapids not listed in there?
That's better than Galaxy Sunday Night Soccer. It's better than Galaxy NYCFC.
Yeah, that's I mean,
I guess they're gonna say it's the return of Ricky Puig. That's why
the return to Ricky Puig, and there's gonna be I think it's pretty likely that the Galaxy, even if they're not super great next year, they're probably gonna be a little better than they were last year. So we're gonna have to deal with some like the Galaxy back.
Oh God,
discourse.
I don't even want to. That's like. That shit's gonna make me want to poke my eyes out already.
Yeah, but you already know what's happening.
Yeah,
you got Inter Miami.
It would be really sick though if they don't. Like if they're actually just really that bad. Because like there is a chance that they are genuinely just bad, even with Puig back.
There's a chance, but the reason I think they're going to be a little bit better is because if you actually look at their record last year from like June 1st on, it wasn't great, but it wasn't like that bad. And I think it was probably that. I think their level in that area of the season, like from mid-season to close out the season, is probably more reflective of the level of their team than the start of the season was. Their start of the season was insanely bad, and they were playing really bad. It was also the most cursed stretch of games I've ever watched an MLS team play. The ways that they were finding to lose games was they lost a game where the other team didn't take a shot. Not a shot on goal. They didn't take a shot the entire game. And they literally held Sporting Kansas City without a shot and lost the game. That's impressive. And it felt like every single week they were 0-14-3, I think, at one point. And it was like a lot of the games they were not playing that bad, or they weren't, it's not like they were getting blown out. They would just find these absolute like debaucherous ways to lose these games. That's the kind of thing that I don't necessarily expect to repeat itself.
Vandy's personnel choices were so weird too. Like
when they started the season?
Yeah, like I swear he was like, you know what if we just let everyone score on us in the last minute? Like what if we just, I don't know.
It was among the, I mean, we saw them when Seattle played them in Leagues Cup. They were kind of a mess. That team was so easy to score on. But I don't know. I would be surprised if they're one of the worst teams, like a wooden spoon contender again. But, you know, you never know. I didn't think they were going to be going into this last year either. And they were. Miami Freedom Park opening. What is there? That's not a sponsor. Freedom is the concept of freedom the sponsor of of their stadium? Are they going to rename that when they
get us canceled? And I'm just not going to do it.
Freedom Park, America First Field. All right, what's going on? And then you got the World Cup break, MLS action returns, All-Star game, decision day, playoffs. I guess TBD, so don't worry about that for now. But anyway, those are the big key
marquee matchups. Wow,
marquee matchups that MLS has noted. Let's pull up the Sounders schedule, because I think that's what I really want to look at. I looked at it. I've looked at it like one time, but I haven't really actually deep dived it. I was saving it for the show.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pull that up right now. Any more schedule takes in the meantime? No,
I mean, we have the big road stretch because they're installing grass in Lumen Field for the World Cup. So we're going to be away for 5 games during CCC, which will be fun.
Yeah, actually. So let's look at that. Good starting point there. You've got the MLS's back weekend opener against the Colorado Rapids, but then, like you said, it's 4 in a row on the road right here. This is tough. And
it's not even fun road trips. It's like Salt
Lake. It's honestly some of the worst ones. Like look how bad look how bad a stretch of road trips this is. You've got RSL. We'll have to get Caleb calling in for his analysis on.
Maybe we should go to RSL. Maybe we should investigate America First Field.
Man, I've never done that road trip. Never been to America First Field. It does look like it's on a very scenic Utah plot of land, so it looks kind of cool. I've heard a lot of Sounders players say over the years that RSL fans are by far and away like the rowdiest hecklers in the league. Yeah. Apparently RSL fans just go, like, they say some really out of pocket, out there stuff to the players. Stephen Fry has talked about this. Like I remember someone asked him about this at training a few years ago, like what road trip has the craziest fans? And he was like, oh, Real Salt Lake, without question. Like sometimes I'm standing in goal there and I can't even like fathom the stuff that I'm hearing, and no other fan base like takes it that far, which isn't that kind of surprising? Like if I had to guess,
but they don't swear at them. I think they just say out of pocket shit.
Exactly, man. Like that's what I would have thought. I would have thought out of any like road city in the league, Real Salt Lake would be among the tamer, nicer fans, but apparently it's the exact opposite. I don't know who I would think is like the meanest fans, but it definitely wouldn't be.
I would think New York City FC fans.
I was gonna say like New York, New Jersey guys, like at the Red Bulls games, I could see that getting rowdy. But no, Real Salt Lake. But like okay, back to how bad a set of road trips this is. You got RSL, St. Louis City, San Jose, and then back to Allianz Field, baby. Let's go. Round 4 already, March 22nd.
Game 6 of the series. It's happening.
This is where that series is actually going to be settled.
Yeah.
Okay? unless Minnesota United wins MLS Cup.
They're not even going to win. Stop even just putting that out there. It's not happening.
That March 22nd Allianz. See you there, Eric. See you there.
See you there, Rick. He's not going to be here. He's going to sign some deal in the offseason.
Rick Ramsey, or a third time, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's pretty tough. That's where the grass installation is coming in, and like you said, I think the big thing with that is there's going to be CCC games in there.
In between all of those, yeah.
So unfortunately, I have to tell you guys that a couple of these games I'm just not going to care about.
Well, you know what's great, Ari? There's a chance if we advance far enough in CCC, we're going to have to play in Spokane.
Which, okay, I actually think that could be kind of fire.
Yes, but
Sounders game in
also, damn, that is going to be the nail in the coffin for the move to Long Acres. 100%. They're going to use that as whether they win or lose or whatever, they're going to use that as a crutch to be like, look, our fans traveled all the way out to pack the stadium and blah, 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 blah.
No,
look,
I don't think they're going to use it as our fans travel.
Ari, I'm telling you.
No, I don't think they're going to use they are going to use it in that way, but they're not going to say, look, our fans traveled to Spokane. They're going to say we shouldn't have to do that. Like, well, we should not have to go across the state for a CCC game because our venue is already in use. We should have our own venue, which, again, it's one of those things on that debate where I understand why they would think that. But I also think that one Sounders game in Spokane, that there could be fun novelty to that. I would be going to that like 100%.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just also like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
It is quite silly that that's even a possibility, but it is also one of the, you've said you like the Bush League troll aspect of MLS. This is a perfect example of it. The Seattle Sounders playing in Spokane, like that's no other league in the world.
I enjoy the idea that we get to do that. I just think it's funny. Like, I just think it's funny.
It's very funny.
Yeah. It's like, what are we doing is less of a like, why are we doing that? And more of a like, I don't even want to, I'm already preparing myself for the discourse that's going to be so ridiculous. I just don't even want to, I don't even like, you know what I mean? There's going to be crazy people on both sides, and I'm just going to be sat there like it's a game.
Oh, the discourse, if that actually ends up happening. I don't know if people realize how close that got to happening this year.
It was going to happen.
It was going to happen if they had advanced.
Yeah.
I don't know if they had fully committed to Spokane, but they needed to do something, and that was one of the big ideas. And
they got shut down on all their other ideas, including playing on Vancouver Island or something like that.
That's kind of.
I'm not sure if that's not confirmed, so I'm pretty sure that there was a bunch of crazy things they threw out.
Saprissa at Starfire, that could be funny too. A CCC match at Starfire.
They won't sanction
CONCACAF
Starfire.
Won't sanction that. Yeah,
they won't sanction Starfire. That's the problem.
Nor should they, probably.
No, definitely not.
But
you can't tell me that like the pitch where half the team tore their ACLs on in that one CCC game was any better than Starfire.
Oh, the one in El Salvador?
Yeah.
Yeah, with like the high school track around it.
Yeah, exactly. You can't tell me that Starfire is any worse.
Starfire is better than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that gets sanctioned. It's a good point.
Yeah.
The hell. All right. So are these more road games after? Hold on. I have to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5 road games in a row, actually. I thought it was
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, God, 5. Minnesota to Houston, this is like, can we calculate the miles on this?
This is going to be I'm already getting tilted about this because this is going to be a brutal road trip. Like, guys, they're probably going to start the league season pretty slow. And we're all just going to have to come to terms with that. What are you?
I'm going to do a little calculation here of how far they're going to have to fly. Seattle to Salt Lake City.
I just want to get out in front of something because I can see this discourse coming from a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
There is no signing, not a single one on the planet Earth or any planet in the solar system or any galaxy. Not one soccer player that they could sign. Not one. Not even one. That would make any difference at all. Even one solitary iota on how they do on this road trip. There's not. They're going to be struggling on this road trip, and people are going to be saying that like the lack of ambition in the transfer window is why they're not taking points on this road trip. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news on that, but an MLS road trip like this, you are chalked. You're chalked. You're chalked anyway, even if you had no CONCACAF Champions Cup to juggle with this, you are chalked because it's just too much travel in too short a time for like an MLS roster to survive that intact. Like that's not going to happen. And they're in this case even more so because they're going to be playing their first choice lineups in the CCC games. So a lot of these league games they're going to be playing like the backups, the young guys, which is fine. It's just going to make it way harder to take points. If they make it out of this road trip, all right. I mean, it's 5 games. Do you see any in there that you're like, all right, they should for sure win that? St. Louis, maybe they're probably going to be kind of bad, but RSL they never win.
Dude, that's 12,700 ish miles flying from Seattle to the place back to Seattle.
12K.
Get
from
the
from March 28th to
the points
April
are about
4th.
to be sick.
But like, let's just look through these matchups. RSL away, famously, they're not going to win that. They don't win that ever.
Never.
As Caleb has rightfully pointed out, they do not win that game ever. St. Louis, they could at least take a result.
St. Louis is really bad.
They're really bad, and Seattle won there the first time they played there. They lost there this last year, but it was only 1-0, and it was a really, really bad lineup that Seattle had to put out there. Not like a bad lineup, but it was not anywhere close to their first choice 11 at all. So I think they could take a result in that game. But the Quakes, honestly, no matter how bad they are, Seattle has trouble playing away there. It's been kind of like not as much a bogey team as they used to be. But I mean, we remember what happened this last year. They were beating the shit out of them and then lost the game 4-3. They blew a lead in that game, shockingly. But either way, I don't feel super like a win would be in the bag there. Minnesota, we'll see what happens with our friend Rick Ramsey.
All bogey teams. They're playing all their bogey teams, dude. They're playing teams that they just always struggle with on the road. Salt Lake, San Jose, this year, Minnesota, Houston, 100%.
So the thing with Houston is, to me, playing that road trip is always about what time of year.
That's true. April.
You unless the Dynamo do some crazy stuff over the offseason to get way better. If you're playing roughly the iteration of the Houston Dynamo that they were this year, in early April, you should be able to take a result in that game. So the way I see it is, you got the St. Louis game and the Houston game that you can rightfully look at and be like, all right, we can take a win there. We can take all 3 points there. The Salt Lake game, I chalk Salt Lake away, off rip any year until they prove that they can take results and win at America First goddamn field consistently. Then I literally, as much as any team in the league, no matter the quality of their team, I chalk RSL away as an L until they show that they can do it. They have not shown that they can do that. So Salt Lake, San Jose, and Minnesota, I'm like, ooh, man, with juggling CCC, that's going to be tough.
Oh, yeah.
RSL let go of 11 players. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they put out there. They could put me out there, and the Seattle Sounders would probably not take her. That is just how.
Dude, that RSL game's on a fucking Wednesday too.
God, I really don't want to watch that.
We should go. We should go to that game.
Go investigate the America First field.
Yeah, I think we should figure out what's going on there, because there's something wrong.
Yeah, it is. I've been to probably half the stadiums in the league at this point, but RSL.
Oh wait, it's not. I'm lying. It's a Saturday.
Oh yeah. It's.
I was looking at January, not February. Sorry, chat.
RSL, honestly, I mean, it doesn't change the way that I think about it. But anyway, that is honestly I hadn't really looked at it that much when I was scanning this today. That is a brutal road trip. That sucks. That's going to be very unpleasant to watch.
Oh yeah.
Not looking forward to that. Let's see if it good start to the schedule. Let's see if it gets any better. I'm really not looking forward to the discourse coming off that, because it's going to be another one of those things where it's just it's chalked off rip. Everyone knows it. So do we even need to do the discourse about it? I guess it's just the perils of being a World Cup host city.
Correct.
Next year.
Yeah.
So they do get a little 3-game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 at home after that. So that's, to me, right here, April 12th. That's when like the league season is really gonna start. That's when I'm gonna start taking it seriously as the performances and results being reflective of what the quality of the team actually is once they're done with that road trip and we can put that behind us. Real Salt Lake again, St. Louis again. So that's kind of cool. We get 2 rematches right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then FC Dallas. I think you can make up some of those points there. I think you can. Like, you'll be at home. It's not like any of those 3 teams were that. None of those 3 teams made the playoffs except FC Dallas, who's not that good. They made it as like the 7th seed.
Correct.
So, and then you got Sporting KC after that. So I think, yeah, this from the 12th to the to May 2nd here, that's going to be a huge stretch for the season. If they can make up whatever points they're going to not take during that hellacious start to the season, it's going to start right there, and it's set up for them to be able to do that. Like Salt Lake, St. Louis, Dallas, and KC away. I'm not saying they're going to win all of those, but those are all winnable games. KC away, they beat the shit out of KC away this last year. So that's not a place where they've struggled that much historically, unless again they're playing in the dead heat of Kansas City summer, which they're not, or early May shouldn't be that bad. Then you got San Diego. That's going to be a big time matchup. Quakes again. First Galaxy matchup. LAFC may
should just stay in the state of California for the. Oh wait, those are all at home. Damn, never mind. We should bring California here,
except for the LAFC one.
Yeah,
but the May slate is pretty good. San Diego, Galaxy, and LAFC. That's gonna be.
We should go to LAFC. You know,
I'm down. Yeah,
considering.
Yeah.
I just looked at flights to Salt Lake. It's only like $190
to America First Field.
Yeah,
that's not bad. Well, this is what we're doing. We're seeing which road trips we want to take. LAFC May 24th. That's one that I could get down on. And then post World Cup break is where we pick up July 16th. After that LAFC game, it's gonna be 2 months off. That's gonna be kind of weird. But I guess it's not going to be that weird because we'll have the World Cup going on. There's going to be all kinds of coverage and discourse to be had about that. It's not going to, if it was like a 2-month break where just nothing was happening, I wouldn't be into that. But it's the World Cup, so we'll be
correct.
First Sounders Timbers game. Circle it on your calendars, folks. July 16th. I'm excited.
Home.
Yeah, I'm excited to be able to go to that. I was gone for Portland home game this year. That sucked. So that'll be fun for me personally. Then to wrap July, you got Austin away and Philly away again. Maybe we'll get a repeat of the one of our best episodes ever covering the Philly game where it got rained out 8 minutes in and they had to fly all the way back from Philly to Seattle without having played the game. That was so sick. The mop guys are Lobbing Scorchers icons.
They really are.
That was so funny. Hopefully that doesn't happen again because Philly Seattle is a banger matchup. I fully expect the Union to be pretty much as good as they usually are next year. Although we'll talk about in a bit here a reason why that might not be the case. Portland away August 1st. Circular calendars on that. We'll probably make the trip for that. I don't see why we wouldn't. Let's look at August here. You got Portland, Vancouver back to back. You got Austin at home. Cincy away. That'll be a good one. And then Chicago at home. Anything stick out to you there aside from the Cascadia matchup? Cincy away. That'll be a fun one. That's one stadium. I don't know if it's be feasible to do that road trip this year, but I do.
TQL.
TQL looks like. I mean, it's talked about as one of the best.
It's got to be a midweek game because it's like.
Maybe
Austin's midweek. One of the two is midweek. If you look at because we play on the 19th and then the 22nd.
Yeah. All right. September. Let's see what we got here. The Red Bulls are coming to town. The wrestling enthusiasts are coming to town. Then it's Galaxy away, Colorado away, Minnesota at home. All right, Rick. Round 5, September 26th.
Oh, that's round 7. That's game 7.
Okay. So the second one is
we played them 3 times in the playoffs, twice in the regular season. We'll play them once away and once at home. That's game 7.
I'm already sick of Rick Ramsey again. God damn it.
That's game 7, bro. That's crazy.
September is kind of boring. There's I guess any Galaxy match is kind of you know, it's always gonna have the Seattle LA storyline, and maybe the Galaxy will be better. October. All right, so they got Revs away this year. Then it goes to FC Dallas away, Montreal at home, San Diego away, Houston at home, Vancouver away. October's kind of lit.
Yeah.
San Diego, that's gonna be a banger, and then you got the Vancouver finale. Seen anything you like in October outside of?
I mean, I'm excited to go back to BC Place, where we famously won money on one hand of blackjack and then immediately left. That was so fire. So, and that was the double red card game. The whole field smelled like literal shit. That was a crazy game. So we last minute drove up there. Ari was like, I don't know, and then I just like pulled up to your house and I was like, let's drive to Vancouver. And you're like, all right. So,
and then it was the famous double red card.
And we were like, maybe we shouldn't have come up here.
But yeah, I remember being like, oh my God, this was a pointless trip. But like, I feel like the fact that it went that far off the rails and they got 2 red cards, it made it like almost more memorable than it would have been if it had been just like a normal game.
Yeah.
It was kind of its own spectacle. And then going to the casino and cashing out for $17. I'll always remember the look that cashier gave us when I cashed that out. He was not happy, but anyway.
No, he was not.
You got Vancouver. Vancouver away is on Halloween. That's
sick.
That's kind of sick.
Oh, we should dress up for the press box.
Yeah, should we go to BC Place in costume?
Dude, that's a video right there. That's a video right there, dude.
That's content. And then Decision Day banger. It's at home this year, which is cool. I feel like they've had it at home most of the time that they've been doing this Decision Day stuff, but this year it was in NYC, which that was cool. That was a good game. They won it, so that was fun, and it also allowed us to do the watch along, which with it being at home, we'll have to figure out if we can do that again. But
well, maybe we'll have a studio. Jeremiah.
It'll be come on, Jo. LAFC on Decision Day. That's going to be. There's probably going to be Western Conference playoff home field, some sort of implications on that are going to make it even bigger than a Seattle LAFC game. But anyway, there you go. That's all the scheduled discourse that I had. I guess it kind of is a boring schedule. There's not like a lot notable about it, but
yeah, nothing.
We had to take a look at it because I think, like the discussion on the road trip at the beginning of the season and how they're going to manage that and how that affects CCC and like what type of start to the season we can expect from this team next year. I mean, I'm talking about the early road trip like it's already chalked. But if they're as good and as deep next year as they were this year, maybe they can get to the end of that, and we'll be looking at that road trip and being like, all right, if this team can get out of that playing that well or taking the results that they took, then that could give us an indication that we could be in for a good year or a potentially special year. If it goes how those MLS road trips normally go, then we're just going to be in a situation where we're wondering like, all right, was that just a chalked road trip inherently from the jump because you were juggling it with CCC and you had like 5 in a row on the road? Or, are they actually really good? And can they bounce back? So, anyway.
When does the CCC bracket come out? That's what I'm interested in.
Or the draw?
Yeah, the draw.
That's usually in December or January, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah.
But that'll be, and CCC is honestly what I'm going to be locked in on at the beginning of the season. I always am, but
we should, if they're playing anywhere in Mexico, we should go, I think.
Especially if it gets like late on in the tournament. I do always think about sometimes like in 2022, man, it would have been sick to be there
exactly
at those games. I'm going to be locked in on CCC because it's more important than the league season. Sorry, just is. So I'm going to be.
We're tournament
all
guys.
eyes ahead.
We're tournament guys. Regular
well,
season
and then also
MLS
what I was going to say is
nothing.
They because they won Leagues Cup, they actually put themselves in better position. They have a bye, which
that's
in CCC
crazy.
Is huge. I don't know. Have they ever had that?
No, the year that they won it, they definitely didn't have a bye.
Well, no. Like that is something with CCC this year that with CCC, every little inch of an edge that you can get matters, and that's a pretty big one. They don't have to deal with the wear and tear of playing that first game. Where also like those first games, usually it's a team that you're way better than or have a huge spending advantage on. But crazy shit can happen. We saw the Sounders get knocked out. We've seen the Sounders get knocked out by teams that you would not think should knock them out, like the year Club Olympia bammed on them and knocked them out, and Albert Delis was looking like the greatest player I've ever seen. They were heavily favored in that series. I think that was further on in the tournament, but you get what I'm saying. Like, the fact that they don't have to even worry about that possibility is pretty awesome, and it gives them a better chance to make a run, I think, than they otherwise would. So, I mean, that first part of the season, I think it's going to be a grind. I'm not really looking forward to all those road games back to back to back to back, but I think once CCC gets rolling, we'll be able to lock in on that, and that should take more of the focus and priority than, say, if they lose to the San Jose Earthquakes on March 15th.
Correct. Yeah, like I don't really care. The first month of soccer, generally, I'm just going to be honest with you. If you make it into the playoffs, I just don't care. I don't care. I've never cared about the Shield. It's not a real trophy. It doesn't mean anything. Go win something else. Like, obvious people will be like, oh no, that's not true. Like, your regular season placement is so important in CC or in MLS Cup. Look, you wouldn't have had to play the second leg in Minnesota, blah blah blah. Okay, whatever, man. I don't care. Like, I just don't. The regular season, it's so like, who gives a shit?
I think it matters from the standpoint of you want to get top four if at all possible, because I do think that you could look at Seattle in the playoffs the last 2 years and say that if they had the home field advantage, it would have been pretty likely that they would have made it by the teams that beat them.
Sure.
It's like, I think if they had the first game and the third game, if it came to it, at Lumen against that Minnesota United team this year, that they beat that.
Well, they
team.
almost had it in Minnesota, so I don't really think I could say anything because they just decided to give up and concede the stupidest possible goals. So it's like, you know, we saw
what happened when Minnesota United came in here for a playoff game.
We know who's the better team.
Everyone saw what happened. They won the series. I get it. Sour grapes, but like the reality is, if Minnesota had to come in to Lumen Field for game one, it probably goes like it ended up going in game two. They could have, in that scenario, they could have won game two and then had to come back here and they're going to win a game three.
That's fair.
Lumen. No way, man.
It is funny that their fans, they know that, and that's why they were celebrating like they had just won the Super Bowl after they beat the Sounders, and like all up in my mentions and all of that stuff. I'm like, brother.
I mean, you did take a blowtorch to the Hornets' nest.
Oh, for sure. That is my job title though. Like that is what I'm here for. So it's fine. It was just also funny because it's like usually a fan base will like come and be like, oh, ha, you know, what? I'm still getting mentioned on Twitter by like random Minnesota United. You know what I did today, Ari? I watched Netflix for like 4 hours. I'm not thinking about you.
What
Like,
what are
like,
you
I'm
what are
in
you watching?
Cabo, bro. Like what?
What are you watching for 4 hours? That's a good binge.
I finished or no, I started the newest season of The Diplomat, which is like this like
I haven't watched that one.
drama about this American diplomat who's in England, and then chaos ensues and all of this stuff, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good, but
Maybe
the episodes are like 45 minutes each, so I had a good binge.
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll spin that one.
Yeah.
All right, a couple of news items that people are mentioning in chat. Let's talk about these. I hadn't written these down, but yeah, you guys are right. The stuff did happen. Kim Ki-hee reportedly coming back per
himself.
Did he announce it?
Yeah, he just posted about it.
That's sick. I didn't know that breaking news reporter Kim Ki-hee. What do you think about that? Kim coming back? He played like 1,200 minutes this year.
I was skeptical when they signed him because I was like, dude, he's old. He was injured a lot, but he did step up in a lot of moments when they needed him. You're losing John Bell most likely. So, I mean, sure, why not?
Jake is saying Bell is gone. Jake, is that like reported or is that
Nico said, well, he's a free agent. So they did not exercise their option with John Bell. Therefore, he's a free agent, and he clearly played well this season. He was our unsung hero of the year. And according to our very own Nico Moreno at El Rolo NW, he says that the Chicago Fire are very interested in his services.
That'd be a good signing for them.
Yeah.
Honestly, that'd be a great signing for them. Good eyes, Greg Berhalter. They need to shore up their defense a little bit still, and that's like a good cost-effective way to do it. And frankly, J Bell, he earned his money. Like,
oh yeah,
when he played this year, he was very steady. He gave the team a lot of valuable minutes. I do think we were talking about unsung hero of the year on our awards show. We gave it to J Bell. Kim had probably a better argument in that discussion.
Nah, he had way worse games. I think John Bell was far and away better.
I don't know if I remember there being that big of a difference. Like, I feel like Kim was pretty much reliable. Like, what games did he have like shockers?
I don't think either of them had shockers, to be fair. I just think that there was I'm not, this is just like off of my memory bank, so I don't think I could directly point back to a match right in this moment, but just like from what I can remember feelings wise, maybe I'm harboring bad vibes towards Kim Ki-hee, so this is unfair, but from what I remember, I just remember getting more upset with Kim at times than I did with J Bell.
I think for a depth center back that you can plug and play when you need to, if you've got injuries or fixture congestion, which God knows they're going to have a lot of next year. Yeah. Kim's as good an option as any. I don't think any replacement that you could get for that price is going to be like drastically different or better. I suppose you could argue that they should try and get younger there, but you got Stu Hawks coming up the pipeline, who honestly, if it was up to us here at Lobbing Scorchers, whatever Kim Ki-hee, John Bell minutes there are to go around, I mean, I want the most of them to go to Stu Hawks, because I think once again they're in a situation there where it's like time to see what you got there, and even more so going into next year, because he actually played a little bit this last year and played pretty damn well. Like, did Stu Hawks make any mistakes other than the one in the LAFC game where they got boat raced, and it was literally 30 seconds after they subbed him on for the debut? I feel like he got put in a bad situation there, frankly.
No, I don't have anything bad to say about him.
He got scored on one time, and then from there on was fine. I think he showed that they really got to try and develop him and see what they have there next year. But you can never have too many bodies at CB. I know that. So
clearly this year taught us that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm happy to have Kim back. Saw an IG post implying Ariola will be back. Jake answered that. Ariola is on contract through 2027, option.
Bell red card. Okay, that was like stupid, man. Like,
that was unlucky.
It was unlucky. He did not. It
was a fair red, but like he was not trying to.
tactical down, like letter of the law red card. It was not a like making a massive mistake or risking anything. They had legs get tangled up in a way where like technically when you slow it down, he was the one who initiated contact. You gotta last man, blah 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 blah.
Out of all the crash out red card boys last year, that
Yeah.
one ranks like last on the egregiousness of the offense. It certainly was not as bad as, say, horse collar tackling a guy or firing a ball into the stands and then flipping off the referee while demonstrating what the fan did to you. I would say that
Yeah.
was a little, or getting ejected from a Leagues Cup game when you're trying to make a run to the final for crashing out on the ref. I would describe J Bells as less bad than all of those ones. Yeah, a lot to pick from, obviously, as we all know, famously.
What do you take about Stephen Fry not getting an agreement reached just yet? So he's currently out of contract.
You know, it's interesting. It's hard to imagine a scenario where if he's playing next year, it wouldn't be here. But you have to imagine, right, that there's been some discussions of like, we're happy to have you back. We'd love to have you back. But Andrew Thomas is going to be the starter, and your role would be as the reserve who gets like the Open Cup minutes, maybe the Leagues Cup minutes, kind of like Andrew Thomas did this last year. But I think that discussion has probably taken place, and so it's kind of down to if he wants to do that for his last year of playing.
I heard Ballard's looking for a keeper.
If he wants to start next year, there's probably spots, at least a couple spots open around the league where he could do that. So I don't know.
It seems like what's happening is like the Sounders are letting him explore his options. I do think inevitably, and Nico thinks this as well per his Twitter account, is that he's going to end up a Sounder. But it's more clear to me that this is an indication that Andrew Thomas is the number one.
Yeah.
Which that's
something that makes me think that Stephen Fry might be coming back is we talked so much about the issue of like, should Andrew Thomas be subbing on for PKs, and the counter argument against that is like, what message would that be sending to Fry, like a club legend who's done so much for the club? And are you kind of sending the message that you don't believe in your guy type stuff? And we had really no indication of what that dynamic was like or what Fry thought of the whole idea. And then when it came down to it, and they had penalties in that last game in Minnesota, they subbed Andrew Thomas in. And by all accounts, Fry was like willing and accepting of that idea. He understood that it was, for the good of the team, and they had a better chance of winning a shootout with Andrew Thomas in there. And I think we got to give him credit, first of all, for like making that sacrifice. To us, it might seem like common sense, but for a guy who has been competing at this high level for as long as Stephen Fry has, it probably wasn't easy for him to accept that they were going to be going with someone else in a shootout with the season on the line. And he was a pro about it. He did what was best for the team. And I think that indicates to me that he might not have, there might not be as much of an ego driven reason for him to be like, nah, screw this, I'm going to go start. He might figure in his own mind, like, all right, like the torch has been passed. My role on this team now is as the mentor and as the reserve. And maybe he's cool with that, I guess, is what I'm saying. The fact that he was very accepting and professional about Andrew Thomas subbing in for the PKs, maybe that's an indication that he would willingly accept that reserve role. I don't know, but I do think you're right that he probably has options around the league, and I don't know. That's going to be an interesting one to track, because say he does leave, then you got to sign a backup goalkeeper. Jacob Castro is not coming back, is he? Isn't that?
No, and I don't think that they really rated him necessarily.
No, I don't think they did.
From what I have heard, he was kind of like not ever in their plan. He was just not developing in the ways that they wanted him to. But They have Mohamed Shore, whatever, who's their
That's a
next
good shout.
goalkeeper.
He's supposedly like a really good prospect.
And there's also Noah Newman, who's an academy prospect who is allegedly pretty good. This is a better question for Jeremiah, but
Noah Newman is there's a Noah
guy.
coming up through
new Noah unlocked.
So you didn't get Noah Ohio, but you've got I've never heard the name Noah Newman.
Noah Newman is way better than Noah Ohio, obviously, and that's not because
Do you know what academy age group or whatever he's in right now?
I don't know. I've just heard rumblings.
Because Mo Shore has got to be up there for.
Mo Shore will clearly be number 3 from what I.
Okay.
If you look, here is again, if you guys want to know who is on the come up, who's on the outs, what the vibes are, Sounder at Heart has an incredible depth chart available for subscribers. Now, you can become a Sounder at Heart member by going to sounderatheart.com/LS. And this is just one of the many benefits. So I won't show you the whole thing, but the list 1 through 4 right now of where Jeremiah and the team here rank the depth chart at goalkeeper. It's number 1, Stephen Fry. Number 2, Andrew Thomas. Number 3, Jacob Castro. Number 4, Noah Newman. And number 5, Mo Shore. And then there's 2 others that if you're interested, again, you can go to the depth chart there. This has the list of everyone. It has U17 Academy. It's got Next Pro. It's got everything. So if you guys want to see the depth chart, that's always the best place to do it. So yeah, there are some people that are coming up, and we know the Sounders want to always bring up their prospects through their academy. So Thomas will be number 1. And then I would assume Stephen Fry. And this was at the end of last season. I want to correct that.
Is that a new username for Tribe? I'm seeing the GBT, but I'm seeing
S9L. I see a different.
Is that you, Tribe? Tribe, reveal yourself.
Tribe, reveal yourself. Yeah. So it's
second account. Okay.
Yeah. That's that. So if Fry is gone, then it would just be.
Let's say, do you think he's coming back? Let's predict, even though we don't know.
I mean, I would assume that like he's coming back. Like, why would he not come back? Unless
if he wants to start somewhere.
Who's picking up Stephen Fry after the season he had?
There's some bad goalkeepers out there, and he's got a very proven track record.
But you're going to get him for 1 year.
Yeah.
You're going to get him for 1 year. He got pretty badly injured last year. His mobility is bad. He's openly talked about how he had knee tendonitis and could barely walk at the beginning of the season. What are we talking about? I mean, also, can we go? Someone just did say, no, actually go for it first, then we'll go into this because this is more of a joke.
I don't have anything. I don't remember what I was going to say.
Yeah, knee tendonitis. He's old, and he's not in the best shape because he's old. It's nothing against him. He's played this sport for 1 billion years. He's 40. Like, that's crazy, what are you supposed to do? Like, if he could go and play somewhere else, but you're getting 1 year out of him.
Right. I think that's a good point. Like, he's stated that he's pretty much said, right, that this next year is going to be his last year. So any team that brought him in as a starter would only be getting him for 1 year. Like you said, and there's just so much. I don't know. It wouldn't feel right if he went and finished his career with another club after everything that he's done for this. It's kind of like when Joe Montana went to the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, that's
it's just wrong.
It just doesn't. Yeah,
just wrong. This is what I was gonna hit. Alex Roldan, goalkeeper number 2 on the depth chart. It was really, when Andrew Thomas got injured, when he dislocated his finger diving for that first penalty, and then immediately the camera cuts to Alex Roldan putting on the fucking goalkeeper gloves. I was just like, oh my god, here we go again.
There was a 30-second or to a minute period there where I was like, oh my god, they have to put a field player in this season on the line.
Yeah,
like that his hand is busted. Like, yeah, the fact that they just popped that shit back in,
and then he
saved 2 more
mode, dude.
And then he's still I think that's the biggest tragedy of that whole thing is like the narrative that should have been one of the most legendary goalkeeping moments in Sounders
Yes.
history. I would argue it still is.
It still is. He gets so unlucky. The finish is in the right spot. Like he gave it the right power and placement. It just was just a tiny bit too high.
The fact that they lost it under those circumstances, I feel like it almost like romanticizes it a little bit. It's like he laid it all on the line. He made 2 saves with a dislocated pinky. He was going head to head against this demonic PK specialist, and he was about to win. He lines up the PK, and then it goes off the post. You can almost see it as like the end of like a inspirational sports film where it all happens in slow motion.
And then it cuts to the next season of his highlights of him going crazy, getting his get back. Yeah,
exactly. The montage.
Yeah. No, but I mean, Alex Roldan is definitely on the goalkeeping depth chart. Like that's true. Someone asked, Fry coaching. What do you think about that? I don't know if he wants to. He doesn't seem to me like the kind of guy who wants to.
Not every player does. Like, not every player that's a veteran leader too. Like, I think the reason people will make that leap is because he's very well spoken. He handles the media really well, and he has been a mentor to younger players, which are all attributes of a coach. But sometimes, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's something that he's interested in, but sometimes great players actually don't make good coaches because teaching someone to do something is very, very different than doing it yourself. And not everyone has the aptitude for teaching other people how to do stuff. Like a lot of, like I remember Kobe Bryant saying like, I could never be a coach because like, I just do all this stuff myself. And it like pisses me off when I try to show other people like how to do it and they can't do it like I do it. So I would just never make a good coach. I'm not saying that's the situation with Fry, but it's not always like that clear cut.
Yeah. I don't know if he would. I think he's too busy chilling on Bainbridge personally. Kent seems like he's on the out. We didn't pick up his option. That's true. We did not pick up Ryan Kent's option or Joao Paulo's option. So I guess we can talk about both of them. Joao Paulo saying he's moving on, gonna go play somewhere else. That just feels like a similar situation to Fry for me. Like, how much more longevity can you get out of a player like Joao Paulo? Like towards the end of the year, he had some really good moments, but his health and speed and just like mobility did not look great.
I thought at the end, right at the end of the year, he finally looked like JP again for the first time since 2022. Not the best 11 version of JP, but like he looked closer to how he looked back when he was the best two-way midfielder in the league. So I do think, I don't know if I could see him like going back to Botafogo to close it out, something like that.
I would sign him if I'm Botafogo.
But it's not like to be like a carry the load player week in, week out. It would be like as a rotational veteran presence who can like mentor the young guys type player coach type dynamic stuff. Like I could see Botafogo or someone else.
Did ask him to stay on as a coach. They wanted him to become a coach and he wasn't interested.
I hope he does that at some point because that's a guy who has said that he wants to do that. And I think does have that like teaching aptitude for it. So
no, I agree. And then Ryan Kent.
I mean,
thank you for playing.
I think he's gone.
Yeah, like
I think he's gone, unfortunately. I mean, you got Areola coming back, which I'm excited about, but I will always feel with Ryan Kent like, like what could have been if he hadn't gotten injured. And that's sort of like kind of a theme in his career, unfortunately. But people give us a hard time about it sometimes still, but I stand by everything we said about him his first couple games with the club. And I don't think that was just him beating up on bad teams. I think the type of talent and ability and just dynamic traits and playmaking that he showed would translate against any MLS team. I think he was right about to tear up the league, and then he got injured, and
I also think Brian didn't trust him.
And well, yeah,
I didn't rate him. I think that's not an exaggeration. The amount of times he was healthy and didn't play.
Were there that many? Like he only got healthy like right before the Minnesota series.
Yeah,
and
but
then he didn't play the first
minutes.
couple games in that. But
he was playing cameo minutes. Paul Rothrock was playing over him. I just don't think he was going to be. I mean, he wasn't rated as highly as Paul Rothrock, and like
I think he's not. He is very talented, but he is not like an exact match for the Schmetzer archetype, which is like with Schmetzer ball in its current iteration as it's evolved. He wants his attackers pressing really aggressively, like flying around, especially his wingers. You know, I know people are going to say, "Oh, well, Rusnak doesn't do that as much." He doesn't, but like, look at Jesus Ferreira and Paul Rothrock, the type of players they are for this team from out wide. Those guys are just pressing their asses off all game, every game. And Ryan Kent, I don't know. I feel like I didn't get to watch him play enough to know how well he fits into the Schmetzer ball archetype. But to whatever extent Schmetz might not have rated him or trusted him, maybe that's why. But the attacking talent, I mean, I stand by it. Like he's one of the more talented attacking players in terms of just raw ability that's like ever suited up for the club. Like I really think that. It's just he got hurt, maybe wasn't a super optimum tactical fit, but I mean, the guy, for everything that happened with his injuries and how he didn't live up to how he looked in the first couple games, he had 5 assists in like 500 minutes that he did play, and really could have had at least a few more, frankly. Like he set guys, he was generating really high quality chances at a really high volume. So I do feel like what could have been, and I think if he was healthy and had a chance, he could put up some crazy numbers in this league with his chance creation ability. I do think though that a lot of these same qualities that I'm talking about is stuff that Georgie brings to the table as well. And he's younger, has a little more upside, has been more durable.
Scored a brace for his national team.
Yeah, good shout. But Matt Doyle, armchair analyst, actually, in his season autopsy or whatever, the postmortems that he writes, the ones he wrote about Seattle, he made this is shout out Tribe. He made a big case that he thinks Georgie should be at least getting a lot more minutes next year, if not pushing for a starting role. And he was dishing the stats, okay, but like the stats and evidence that he was citing,
he loves stats. He's a stats head.
He's a stats head, and the stats he was looking at were Georgie's chance creation numbers. You know, Tribe has the stats on his dribbling. He's like he's a better dribbler than Lionel Messi, famously, or whatever. But his the quality of chances that he generates at the volume that he generates them, if you look at whatever stats they use to measure that, he grades out just insanely high. And I think the idea is like if you just let him cook for even 1,500 to 2K minutes, and we're just keep doing that, keep generating chances from out wide and winning your 1v1s like you always do, he could be a guy that puts up some really big assist numbers. And I think his finishing at the end of the year was looking better too. He scored the banger in Leagues Cup when he got the Christ yellow or the Christ red. So I think the arrow is pointing upward in a way where there's
pointing
more
upward like he pointed to Christ.
Right. there's more upside, and he's younger than Ryan Kent while offering similar attributes. So I don't know. Like I said, man, I was never part of the crowd that was out on Ryan Kent. I kept my stock the whole time. I stand by it. Like he was balling, and I know the argument is that it doesn't count because it was against St. Louis City and the Houston Dynamo. I don't see it like that. The stuff he was doing out there that would have cooked anybody.
You know, I think an MLS team should try and pick him up. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think here's my two. I think Minnesota United could genuinely use a player like him. Like,
insanely badly.
Like, I think that could change their team like crazy.
Someone who plays proactive offense.
Someone who plays proactive offense, but also can like slow the game down and like I feel like he could even play within the system that they're currently playing and still bring some sort of like distribution in the attack that they just so desperately needed. And then I feel like he could cook at Atlanta, man.
Atlanta, I think Toronto could really.
Toronto,
a lot of the teams that are really bad at offense could use a guy like him.
San Jose.
Yeah, they're about to lose Espinoza because
that's what I'm saying.
Missed the deadline to exercise his option.
me when I forget to file my paperwork.
That's crazy, man. I'm pretty
One
passionate.
of the worst run organizations, if not the worst run.
This is what Tom Bogue said. He was like he wasn't supposed to be a free agent, but they missed the deadline. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. They missed the deadline. Now he's just out there. Actually, I'm curious your take on kickoff. I was stumping passionately. I was like, Espinoza's out there right now. The Sounders should get on that. Get on that. Like, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, of course. You should at least be in the conversation.
Have to be. You have to be in the convo. If you don't get him, you don't get him. He's can go wherever he wants.
Yeah.
But like, oh man, you have such a good pitch to make to him too. Like, bro. You've been toiling away on the San Jose Earthquakes for the last 5 years. Why don't you come to our squad? You get to play with Jesus Ferreira, Albert Rusnak, Jordan Morris, Danny Musovsky.
Dude, we're literally playing with the 2018 MLS All-Star squad.
Kinda, yeah. But Espinoza, I fuck with him so much.
I love him, dude. No, I think it would be a really good addition, and then I think you can just let Pedro go away.
Yes,
essentially,
it helps that issue. It gives you cover while you don't have to rush De La Vega back. And Espinoza is also, he's very versatile. You can play him centrally or out wide.
Also, if you can't get a deal done with Paul, which is he's going to be a free agent most likely. So that's just
you're going to need even more cover there in that case. I
don't think Georgie's ready to start still. I still don't think he's ready to start. I don't think Brian thinks he's ready to start. There's that aspect of it too.
I would feel way more comfortable with a rotation of Christian Espinoza and Georgie spelling him or spot starting than I would with handing the keys to the starting role to Georgie and then taking it from there. I mean, I think depending on what happens.
Let me give my Georgie takes because Tribe's about to come through the screen and choke me out. He makes terrible defensive decisions. He gets very stressed out and makes rash decisions when he's trying to get back to defend. Brian loves and needs someone who is just way more settled with that kind of thing. I think Georgie's raw and pure talent is better than almost anyone in the league if you're just going on that, in his position. But the problem is he makes mistakes. He makes mistakes. Are we not going to pretend the Defiance didn't literally lose that Open Cup game against the Timbers because he basically swept the dude's leg. He swept the dude's leg. It doesn't matter if he's a winger. He's getting back on defense. That's how this team plays. And so you have to be way more settled in your defensive capabilities to, one, be rated by Brian, and two, to start in the way that they play.
I'm gonna try and find the Doyle take for why he makes a very detailed case for Georgie the starter. My thing on it is of just handing him the keys unilaterally without signing anyone for cover, especially if you lose Kent and Rothrock.
I gotta disagree with Doyle on that take. You can't just give him the keys.
Let's I don't know if that's what he was saying, but let's hear him out. But my thing is he's just raw. You're taking a very big risk to hand him the keys.
You need to give him more minutes regardless, but giving him everything, that's a risk.
I don't think there is a scenario where he would get everything, but in a scenario where you do need to sign cover because you're losing Kent and Rothrock, Espinoza would be a phenomenal, but
Georgie should at least double
Espinoza
his
brings a
minutes.
lot of the same stuff that Georgie does, but just like 100 times the polish and refined final product. I mean, this guy, go look up his highlights. Like he's just a way more refined.
God, dude, could you imagine Espinoza cooking off of Jesus Ferreira? Like, I'm sorry, that's giving me like I'm getting excited.
I would
does need in Tribe. He does need more experience. He should get double the minutes that he got this season, if not more. But the reality is, it's just when you have an option, you can't. This team is too reliant on their wingers. Like it's just not an option. Like he needs to figure out his defensive. I don't even know what you would call it. He just needs to chill a little bit. He just needs to be a little bit more firm in his defending.
Polished conversation is what we said about Kent. Yeah, but Espinoza has been durable his whole MLS career. He plays 30, 35 games a year. He gets you 10 to 15 assists like it's nothing. Very, very unselfish. Can fit into, I feel like, a lot of different tactical setups. But I mean, he's just been an absolutely fantastic player for San Jose. He's just been underrated because he's been on a really bad team.
I've never underrated him.
No, we didn't. But like, we're MLS heads. Like, not
people
who don't watch the San Jose Earthquakes aren't going to know who he is. But like, honestly, if we're talking about just like polish and final product and professionalism and like knowing what you're going to get, there's not really even a conversation to be had there. But that all of that is not to say that we don't want Georgie to have a bigger role next year. I want him to have a bigger role, and I want him to start a lot more games definitely than he did this last year. But here, I found the Doyle take, so let's just hear him out and we can see what we think.
Let the armchair analyst cook.
All right, here we go. This is his takes on Seattle's 2025. We can kind of go through the whole thing. It's not all about it's Georgie.
You could have won the season if you'd started Georgie every game.
Basically, what he attributes what happened in the playoffs to putting everything they had, kind of putting it all in on Leagues Cup. He says they ran out of gas after that, went out in round one of a playoff series. They dominated. See, even Doyle knows it.
Yep.
Even Doyle knows it. Loons fans, Rick Ramsey, okay, in the end, went out in a round one of a playoff series. They dominated. They did so not because they were bad, but because they weren't sharp on the margins in the way they had been during the summer. That is very true. Like we talked about the defensive issues that this team had all year, and that was what did them in. That's what ended their season. Yeah. In Leagues Cup, there was none of that at all. They looked like they were playing defense.
Like the game game 2 of this series was how they had to play. I said that after game 2. I was like, if you can overwhelm them offensively, it's the only way you're going to be able to do this. And then I didn't even realize, they didn't even play amazing on defense in that second matchup. But you go on the road and because that second matchup, they gave up 2 goals in stoppage time. In stoppage time in the first half. That was bad. Then they did the same thing in Minnesota, but couldn't make up. They gave up a third and then had to make that up, and then you send it to penalties, and we all know what happened. But I guess you're right. Like the defensive piece of it was really bad, and their attack just wasn't.
I like how he puts it here. When they had a chance to step on Miami's throat, they did so. When they had a chance to step on Minnesota's, LOL. I mean, yeah. Tough but fair. In the end, I feel like this was a 95th percentile outcome for this particular team. Though Sounders fans being what they are, I guarantee more than 1 in 20 is upset about the 2025 season. He's not wrong about that. All right, let's find this. Okay, this is the Georgie section. Let's hear him out. Player I'm excited for. Georgie Manungu should be a starter next year. Okay, he does come out and say it. All right, he says it. So let's see why. We're hearing him out, Noah. We're hearing him out. And Tribe, this is for you, Tribe. This take is for you. Georgie Manungu should be a starter next year. End line pullbacks across the box are the second most valuable attacking pass in soccer after through balls.
They're the second most valuable attacking pass in soccer. according to my calculations.
I mean, is it inaccurate to say that end line pullbacks are like a very valuable chance creation method?
They definitely are.
Like
I'm just
the
being
primary
an
assist zone stuff. That's what he's talking about, and that's what this team
zone
is
3.
so good at.
We got to get into zone 1 and 2 and pass the ball into 6 and 7. 6 and 7, zone 6 and 7.
All right. Well, let's look at here is the calculations. MLS 2025 regular season completed cutbacks. Can you guys see this? I'm gonna make it a little bigger.
There you go. There we go.
2025 regular season completed cutbacks by a player. You got Georgie in first, way up here
with
and
7.
He's coming in ahead of players like Julian Fernandez, Chupo Moting. Paul Rothrock is up there. See,
Let's go.
But this is part of what he's saying is like that this specific attribute that Georgie has is one of the most important attributes that you can have as a wide player in specifically this system, which is important.
No one comes close to him except for the 2 players that come close to him.
Rothrock is obviously up there, but it's funny. Sounders have 2 guys in the top 5 in this category. But Georgie's coming in ahead of guys like Jordi Alba, Christian Espinoza, Arfston. Ryan Kent is on here in only playing 500 minutes, which I think kind of shows you again the importance of that to Seattle, but also how well Ryan Kent did play.
Also, maybe their system could play a role in this potentially, and like how they tell their players to make moves. I don't know.
Exactly. But that's the point, though. That's the point.
No, I know, but I'm saying like I think that whatever. I'm not going to argue about this against the armchair analyst who isn't here. I just think it's like I agree on the front of I'm going to play devil's advocate is like it doesn't. What is like this is just one stat. This it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm rearing to get at the stats. I'm rearing to take down the stats.
Can I ask in all seriousness, like what is wrong or stupid or invalid about the completed cutbacks stat? Like
nothing is wrong about it. It's just presenting like a very specific niche thing without saying like, well, the Sounders value this and play to this style a lot more. So like, I guess in that context, you could even say like, okay, yes, that's their style, so you should play him. Absolutely. But also like, I don't know. It just seems, if that's, I don't know, it's fine. It doesn't matter. I have not formulated a thesis on this. I just think that it's, I hate one very hyper specific stat to like
it doesn't
starter on.
It doesn't surprise me that you that you don't like the stat, but I do think like this stat in particular, it is like you said, like you said it yourself. It's specifically relevant to Seattle. So
yes,
someone who is good at this particular thing and grades out well and ranks highly in this category is someone who's going to have a lot more value to Seattle than even another team. And it's also, I think the point to take away is that it's a demonstration of how good a fit stylistically is Georgie is for this system, for Schmetzer ball, and like how well it's also an indication of Georgie actually taking coaching and performing what's asked of him and doing it at a high level. I'm not gonna say like, I mean, I see what you're saying from the standpoint of like completed cutbacks is a very it would be a random stat to try and assess
cutback statistic being 2 more than Paul Rothrock, but also he can't defend, and we're like that's where I'm kind of going with is like it's not the narrative necessarily, because I think the narrative is fine. I hate a pinpointed very specific stat as you're like, this is my reason why, and then it's like, also Georgie Manungu came in on purpose to do this. If he plays a longer period of time, if he plays more minutes, his role is going to diversify in ways that aren't going to be like super qualitative or quantitative. I don't fucking know. Quantitative, qualitative, who knows? I'm not a math guy, but like he's going to have less cutbacks because he's going to be having to play a more diverse role. He's not going to be coming in as a super sub, playing these important minutes and playing as hard as he possibly can. Like, I don't think he's going to play in a starting role like he does when he comes in for 30 minutes.
I mean, we would have to see what happens if he got those more minutes.
And he
But
should,
I
and he
mean,
should, and
yeah,
he should.
and I mean, I don't know. I think the takeaway is that this is an example of like how and why he's been so effective as a chance creator from out wide. And then I think part of it too is this system puts so much emphasis on these primary assist zones, right? So wide players who can get into those areas, either your wingers or your fullbacks, and specifically with your wingers, winning your 1v1s and getting into those prime assist zones and creating high quality chances from there. That's like the most valuable attribute that you can have. And he does have that. I don't even think you need to look at stats to just be able to see that he is very, very good at that.
Sure.
So
I'm not arguing against that. I just hate that that's the basis of the claim.
All right. Well, Noah's not a fan of completed cutbacks, but that is one thing that Doyle has cited here and his
God always
his
and God
Georgie
said,
agenda.
on the third day, let there be completed cutbacks.
Oh, he's got more on the completed cutbacks here, and he's borrowing a line from Jo. Manungu played 726 minutes. Everyone with at least 4 completed cutbacks logged at least twice as many. So that's when you're like, oh, he only had 2 more than Rothrock. Well, yeah, Rothrock played 3K minutes. Georgie played 726.
But that's what I'm saying. They deployed him for a very specific tactical reason, show like to a T of like to push what he's good at, a super sub, because he's literally like, this is your mission. You're going to go and do this thing that we have pinpointed you are incredibly good at. You are a really good dribbler. You are really good at getting those end line cutbacks in those prime assist zones. It's not like, I don't understand how we're taking that jump off and even citing that it's such little minutes, which is impressive, by the way. But like, it's a very tactical move to have him do that kind of play and be like, well, you can just easily extrapolate that out to if he played 90 minutes, he's going to have 30 cutback assists or whatever. Like, that's just not true. Like, that's just,
well, it's not an exact science with that, but there is like part of what you are trying to do when you're getting an evaluation on a player like this. All you have is the minutes that they play. So it's not about like being like, oh, we're gonna, if we give him way more minutes, we're guaranteed to extrapolate it. All it is, it's indicators to see what value you could get if you do play him more. Doyle says here, and
yes,
part of this is Seattle's game model. Of course, you can see other Sounders wingers on that chart. Also, they went from 28 open play goals last year to 44 this year. Game model is good. But part of it is Georgie being a legitimate 1v1 force in a way few wingers in this league can match. He is a high-value chance creation machine.
I would love to audit this and just point out like which of each of these end line cutbacks come from the second, like from non-starting minutes, and what ones come from starting minutes, because I think that is an important. I'm not
so certain that there's as much of a difference in how he would be asked to play as a starter compared to how they have him play when he's subbing on. Like the idea of like,
you think
they're telling him to hone in on one particular thing that he's good at because he's subbing on like at the end of the game. Why would that change just because he's playing more minutes? They're still going to tell him, go out there, fucking cook out wide, win your 1v1s, get in those primary assist zones and send the ball in like you always do. Just do it. Just do it as a starter instead of when we bring you in as a super sub. Like the attribute of his game, it doesn't necessarily change or be deployed any differently just because he's starting versus coming off the bench.
I mean, I think it does, because again, if you watch the way that the Sounders, in MLS, right? Like the second half of the game, it always opens up. Defenders are more tired. Like that's just the reality. It gets more track media. It gets more open. There's a lot more open space. A defender is going to be able to figure you out, feel you out in that first half of the game. Georgie's going to have to play a lot more defensively. He's going to have to make a lot less mistakes. You in the first half of the game, you have to make the chances that you create. The chances you create, in my opinion, this is not based on statistics. This is based on vibes. The chances that you create in the first half are way more important, or like way more challenging to finish than in the second half. And so he is very successful at coming in against tired legs. He's very successful at coming in when the game is way more open. And that's not knocking him. That's just saying like they have found a really good tactical advantage to exploit and they play to that. If you do the same thing for 90 minutes, like I don't know if that's going to work. I'm not saying it's not going to work, and I'm not saying they shouldn't try it, but I think that it's a pretty big jump to go from, hey, he's really good at doing this one very specific tactical thing in the second half of games, coming in as a super sub, which is famously something that's known across all leagues, and just picking him up and saying, now he should start and play in this way more diverse role. Because the truth is, if you're playing as a starting winger on the Seattle Sounders, it's a way more diverse role than coming in as a super sub, trying to close out a game, trying to catch a goal, trying to change a lead. That's just the truth. And that's why I'm like not sold on the starter role for him, is because he's a sloppy defender. He is. He can make magic and he can make these cutbacks and he can do these things, but he's just not as lethal as even someone like Paul Rothrock. And so I want to see him get minutes. I want to see him be better, and I want to see him be able to start, but he has to show me those things. So you have to give him the minutes to get there, but also like saying that he should just automatically be a starter because of the cutbacks and because of the way that he's dangerous on his dribbling and all of this stuff. I just long-term, man, these small sample size, high percentage things, they don't bear out. They almost never bear out.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, it is true, because like if you put, because remember like I was like last season or something, Paul Rothrock was like getting not as many minutes and getting a ton of, it was like assists per minute or like goals per 90 or assists per 90 or whatever, and Paul Rothrock was like number one, and then he got more minutes, and obviously that goes down. These are just percentages in numbers and all of this kind of stuff that's like, yeah, you're in first for now, and then you're people are figuring out.
Well, when you have the small sample size, whether or not you can sustain or extrapolate it is the question. But I mean, I could point to many examples of players who were successful either on the stat sheet or with a stat like this over a small sample size, where when they were given bigger roles, they did maximize it, and it did turn out.
Just say it.
It's true, though. It's true. That is what I was going to say. You're right. You called it. That is exactly where I was going with that. But how is that not a counterexample to what you're saying?
Well, I think it's different in that this is a very unique, specific stat tied to a specific way that he is played and the way that he is deployed. Musovski, as much as I disagree with like XG or whatever as like a tell-all, if you looked at all of his underlying statistics, all of them, not just one or one specific game, but you look at his career and the way that he plays, all of the numbers indicated that if you gave him more minutes, he was going to be able to like sustain that and keep that up. This is very different. Let's look at one hyper-specific statistic about a percentage of like, this is the second best way to create dangerous opportunities. So because it's the second most dangerous way to create opportunities, let's pretend that you're not getting more of these because you're being deployed in a role that's specifically targeting doing this. And that if you were playing full 90, you're not going to be specifically just doing this, that you're going to bear that out over a long period of time. I think the argument that he's making about getting him more minutes and seeing what he can do is correct. I think the methodology is a little bit like galaxy brained. Like, let's pick this one statistic out of the air and be like, blah, blah, blah. This is why I don't like shit like this, because it's doing him a disservice to like say that he like, that's just is fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid.
I think you're attributing a conclusion to him that he's not making. He's not saying the cutback stat and the cutback stat alone means that you can guaranteed extrapolate a bunch of assists if you give him the starting role, and thusly
then why would he be a starter? Start him?
Because he's giving one example of a statistic that shows something that he is uniquely good at and talented at, and you don't even need the stat for that. Like when we watch Georgie play, we can see that his ability to win his 1v1s and get in primary assist zones is
for
special.
Sure.
It's special. like
sure.
not
And, yeah,
that not
in the
there's
second
not
half.
that many guys out there, or at least in MLS, that have that ability that he does, that physical ability, that raw talent that he's able to do in those situations. So it's not a be all end all. It's just one example or one indicator of something that shows that he has a skill that if you spam it, you could profit
You
off of it.
might.
And I don't think it's that different from the Moose logic. You're right that
It is
Moose, it
super
was all
different.
Moose was all kinds of like underlying numbers that
Yeah, you
like
could look at
showed
like
that he could
any
get in
of
the
them.
spots, and like his efficiency, goals and assists per 90,
Exactly.
all that stuff. So
And
I
that's
don't know.
tangible. That's
if you
tangible.
looked at Georgie. I don't know if you looked at Georgie's underlying numbers or in other categories if you would find the same thing. But this is just one. It's one example, not like the only reason. It's like one part of it.
I'm just saying when
And
you've
it's an
been
important
deployed
part
as
of
a
it because of
specialist,
how Seattle plays.
I'm just saying when you've been deployed as a specialist and then you pick out the specialist stat and point that as a reason to start him, I think that's doing him a disservice. I think that's dumb. I think that's a dumb support to your conclusion, which you're saying that it's not his conclusion or not the reason that he's getting to this conclusion. But why present it if it's not the reason or one of the main reasons of efficiency and like creating chances or whatever? Why would you say you should start him and then support it with evidence when your evidence isn't a part of the reason why you should start him or like one of the key reasons why? That's the truth. You can argue around it, but Doyle is saying that this statistic is like something that he would look at and be like, I'm going to start him. Look at this. He says, look at this. He says, look at this. I'm looking.
So like should you just not offer evidence for?
No, I think you should offer like evidence in a way.
How should you decide like what players play more?
He's a columnist. He's allowed to make whatever decisions he wants, and I'm a fucking guy on YouTube. I'm gonna like be like, I don't like the way that you came to this conclusion, but I can agree with your conclusion. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you got some supporters in chat too. A lot of people think that Georgie should not be a starter. I don't, like I said. I mean, I said at the beginning of this discussion, I'm not. I would want them to sign Espinoza and give him like the lion's share of that role, at least to start the season. But I do think I don't know if I agree with Doyle's conclusion that like he should for sure be a starter, but I do think he should start more games next year than he did this year. And I mean, you and I don't see statistics the same way. I think fully dismissing like the cutbacks stat as it relates to whether he should get more minutes.
I'm not dismissing it. I'm massaging it into my own narrative. I'm using the same statistic to say he has been super effective, and you can clearly see that in the one-dimensional role that he has played. And when you break him out of that one-dimensional role, we have not seen him be as successful.
That is true. We don't
playing
know.
a super sub. I'm using the statistic that he is pointing to as a reason to start him to say, actually, that statistic is arguing against what you're saying. That's what I'm doing. Because again, statistics, you can make them say whatever you want. You just have to present it in the right way. Cinema.
All right. Noah, not with the Doyle take. He did have another little nugget in here that I think here's some stats that he drops that I think you'll be able to get behind. Right here. Their three-headed center forward combo of Jordan Morris, Danny Musovski, and Osaze Rosario combined for 30 goals, 7 assists, all comps.
No, that's some stats I can understand, Ari.
Well, and then he follows up all those end-line pullbacks work. So, I mean, again, like it's
I don't think that's how they scored all their goals, but
more than like how Georgie like plays into it. But like why I bring that one up is these are the number 9s from the team this last year, guys. What? These are the number 9s. Jordan Morris, Danny Musovski, Osaze Rosario. The production they got, 30 goals, 7 assists. Like,
yeah, it's great.
I bring that
all
up.
Pullbacks, all 30 of them. As his sentence implies.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about number 9 production. Okay, because I'm changing the discourse now. Okay, there's been so much discourse about they need to sign a number 9. We need a real number 9.
We have a number 9, Ari.
How could you not sign? Look, I'm not saying they shouldn't sign the U22 number 9. Okay, I'm not saying they shouldn't sign the U22 number 9. But when you hear people talking this offseason about how trash the strikers are, how trash the team is, how like the offense needs to be, you need to sign 27 DPs and 14 U22s so you can like get the offense back on 30 goals, 7 assists from the number 9s. You like that is staggering. And there is no way. There's no way. I haven't looked at it, but there's no way any other team in MLS got that from their striker group this year. There's no way. I mean, if someone wants to go look that up and prove that wrong, I'll tell you it's in the top 2 or 3 in all of MLS. I guarantee you, at least. So they can sign the U22 number 9. Not saying they shouldn't sign a striker if they have a guy lined up. But when you hear the discourse this offseason about how every striker on the team is trash, this was the best striker group and you know what's even crazier about this stat? Jordan Morris was injured all year. Yeah. Osaze, only 5 of those goals are from Osaze because he only got run in Leagues Cup. You know who did most of that? Is Moose.
Danny Musovski, 20 goals. Something like that. Well, it's like, dude, Reese is sitting here saying, oh, if you don't think our strikers are ass, then pack it up.
Reese, explain 30 goals, 7 assists then, brother. Like
you watch a dude score 20 goals and you're like, yeah, actually we need someone.
You can't, I'm sorry, Reese, I love you, but you can't just say that in the face of what the production was. What production that they actually got, how many scores, how many goals they actually scored. Does that not have to like inform how did they, if the strikers are ass, how did they score 30 goals and get 7 assists all comps? Like you got.
Well, he says that we would have 60 if there was good strikers.
You could swap in any group of strikers that you want, and I don't think you're hitting 37 goal contributions. I don't. Like the strikers had an insane year. And this, I don't know, we can get into this show went a totally different direction than I was intending. But like we're gonna talk about the Moose discourse a lot this offseason. They picked up the option, but they could still trade him. And I think, you know, we were talking about this on KJR.
God, we're gonna fucking keep him, aren't we?
I mean,
I gotta use the bathroom, chat. You cook on this.
All right, I'll cook on this. I'm on a different side of the Moose debate. I'm on a different side of the Moose debate than most. Why is my mic doing this? I don't think the Moose debate is as simple as people are making it. And I tried to think about this critically because I realize it's easy to dismiss the season that Moose just had because it's Danny Musovski. But when I look at the year that he just had, 18 goals, all comps, led the team in scoring, almost broke the single season goal record, how well he graded out efficiency-wise, how he only actually played 1,500 minutes in league play, and he still scored that many goals. I don't think that that's as easy to replace as people are making it. You could say, oh, well, if you move off Moose and you sign insert big name striker here, they would score more goals. But we don't know that. You really don't. And if it was really that easy to have the type of season that Moose just had, don't you think Emmanuel Latte Loth, who went for $22 million, would have scored more than 7 goals this year? Moose he more than doubled that guy's goal production. So I do understand the logic that his trade value, his market value is at an all-time high right now. That is the best time to sell. And he also is 30. I just think we got to be careful and remember like how much production we're talking about, how efficient the production was, and not take for granted that can be replaced as easily as I think some people are saying. And I realize I'm on a little bit of an island on this. Everyone wants them to trade Moose, move off Moose. But another thing, I try to lend credence to the counter arguments. Like Nico always calls it Linsanity. He says it was like a outlier that's probably not going to be replicated. But do we really know that? Do we really know that? He never played a full complement of minutes ever, really, before this year. I think his career high in minutes was like
so what do you do with Morris?
1,200 or something. So what was that?
So what do you do with Jordan Morris? He's a DP. What do you do with him?
You had them both on the team this year.
Yeah, but Moose was only playing when Jordan was injured.
You need multiple strikers. Like just because you have a starting striker doesn't mean
what I'm saying is if he is that effective and that efficient and truly worth the money and worth picking up his option, what do you do? Because they're gonna sign a U22 number 9. I don't care if you like it or not. That's what they're gonna do. What do you do with Jordan Morris? That is a genuine question that they are having right now. They're thinking about this right now. Craig Weibel, I just got off the phone with him in the bathroom, and he said, "Noah, this is something we're thinking about. What do we do with Jordan Morris?"
I don't think there's anything wrong with having Jordan Morris, Moose, and a U22 on the roster. And another thing I'll say too, and people really aren't going to like this, but when did that Minnesota United series turn around and flip on its head, and the team started banging in goals like it was nothing? It was when they played Moose and Jordan together. I'm not saying that wasn't matchup dependent and that maybe that was just something that they were pulling out for the Minnesota series because they had to, and it wouldn't work if you tried to do it in the regular season or against other opponents. But I do know that the offense looked freaking fire with that setup against the Loons, who are one of the better defensive teams in the league. And I also know that Moose was banging in goals like nothing as well as soon as they made that tweak. So you can't, I'm not saying that they should for sure move to a 2-striker setup, but it's something that they did do to great effect. Like we have a little bit of it's a small little data point, but it's something that looked really, really, really good.
I mean, Morris was playing out on the wing a lot more in that game, so it was less.
It's functionally a 2-striker kind of thing, though. It's not him playing as like a pure winger.
He was floating for sure.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think he was less. Jordan was like, he was playing more of his wing game than he was playing his number 9 play.
But if that works, then it works. I don't think you need to be super dogmatic about Jordan needs to be like the lone striker up top. I do think there's potential issues there with we all know that Jordan sees himself as as kind of like a pure number 9 that can be like the guy up top in a 4-2-3-1. But like for the sake of argument, if they do keep them both on the team and they run a little more of like a 2-striker setup with them playing off each other in preseason, and it looks really good. It looks like it did in against Minnesota United. You don't have to commit to running a 4-4-2 or playing them both together, but that's a look that you can have in your pocket that you can go to. And who knows, maybe they will find that what happened in the Minnesota United series unlocked something offensively. But I mean,
if you sell Moose, get a bag, and sign Espinoza?
I mean, I would be perfectly fine with that.
Because you're gonna have to find roster. You're gonna have to find cap space somewhere.
You're getting
money.
You're getting some cap space. Well, we're gonna have to see where the cap situation lands, because we don't know who's leaving yet. We don't know what's going to happen with Obed. We don't know if Rothrock is coming back. Like, there might be more ability to maneuver later on in the offseason than there is right now.
Yeah. But also, you only have a 1-year option. So you're going to, if you want to move Moose, you got to do it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is
it's a shit or get off the pot. And I know the Sounders, and they love to shit.
If you're going to move him, you have to do it now, because his value is at its absolute apex, and he's 30. So I get all the arguments for trading him or moving off him. I just I'm not as dismissive. Nico calls it Linsanity. When we were doing the awards show and I stumped for Moose, the whole panel was like, "You're stumping for Danny Musovski as attacking player of the year? The guy who led the team in goals, the guy who bailed the entire team's ass out all year." Let's be serious. If Jordan Morris got hurt as much as he did this year and Moose wasn't on the team, the squad would have been chalked. Like, we should acknowledge that.
Maybe. Or maybe Osaze steps up and puts it in, but we didn't see anything different.
I think Osaze ran real hot in Leagues Cup. There's no doubt about that. And he never really
didn't see anything else. How can we say?
It is true. I do think that
yeah, exactly. You're making an assumption without having any count.
Okay, but it's a way different bet on Osaze, who's a young player who you don't really know anything about, than it is Moose.
I mean, yes, but also you have personally acknowledged how incredible you have one of the best number 10s in the league, in my opinion, and in your opinion.
Yeah.
You have basically an extra DP in Jesus Ferreira playing on the wing, dime dishing all the time. Yep. You have Pedro de la Vega, who looked like God's gift to earth. And when he wasn't healthy, you had Paul Rothrock, who was playing incredibly well. You had this amazing core of players driving your attack. You can't tell me, man, that like if Moose is the only person that would be able to do it in that position, or that he was successful because he was so talented. I think the truth is we didn't see any evidence to say that someone else couldn't do it. Because when someone else stepped in to do it, they did it. And they also lifted a trophy.
Yeah, no, I mean, there is that evidence that the number 9 position on this team, you can kind of plug and play there. And it's not like it doesn't matter who plays it, but like if you just find like a basic skill set and a basic archetype, maybe their system is just such that you can put any number 9 in there and they'll do exactly what Moose did. I'm not as positive about it that it's a foregone conclusion like that as everyone else seems to be. I think that is that's dismissing the season that Moose had categorically.
It's not
for no other reason. It's the only reason you're dismissing it is because it's Danny Musovski. That's
dismissing it. I'm not dismissing it.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
You just said anyone could do it.
No, I didn't say that just anyone could do it. I said that there's no evidence to the contrary to say that you couldn't put anyone in there and they wouldn't score. You're telling me an unproven... Okay. Osaze de Rosario, Canadian Premier League legend.
Yeah.
Famously got banned because he tested positive for weed on a drug test. He was like the top scorer in Next Pro, right? With a really, really good attack in Next Pro. But no MLS experience. Guy off the street, essentially. You put him in 2 of the biggest games in Sounders history.
Yeah.
And what does he do?
Bams.
He bams.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit here and say that Danny Musovski wouldn't have outperformed him on the amount of goals that he would have scored, because I think undoubtedly I've sat here and said that Danny Musovski is really good at getting into positions. But also there's evidence to suggest against what you're saying, which is maybe it has a lot more to do with the incredible quality around the striker than the striker themselves.
No,
and I think that's the truth. It's not about Danny Musovski being bad. It's not about Danny Musovski, like dismissing the Danny Musovski. It's the reality that, brother, I think the truth is a lot of people can be successful in that role. I think a lot, like you could do a lot better than Danny Musovski for sure. Or it's the reality that you can sell him, get some kind of money for him, and put someone in there and still be successful, because that's all we've seen. That's the only evidence that we have.
And
that's business.
I honestly, at the end of the day, I agree with the conclusion that moving off Moose and trying to get by at the 9 position in other ways, or giving Osaze a bigger role, or finding someone who can do what Moose can do skill set wise for cheaper. It's the smart business and roster management move, like in theory, on paper. I'm just cautioning, man. Like people think
I'm
these
just
things,
using Matt Doyle's logic here, man.
People think these things are black and white, and they're not always. Like
if the Sounders,
sometimes you can make a move like that thinking that you can easily replace what you're giving up, and then it turns out you can't. That does,
except they did, and it worked.
Yeah, for
the 2 most important games of that entire tournament.
True. Look, you're not wrong that Osaze was balling and he looked like he could do what Moose did. And if they move off Moose and they give Osaze the chance to like basically do the Moose role next year, I wouldn't hate it. And I think that there's a pretty good chance that could work based on what we saw from Osaze this year. So I'm not arguing that. I'm just trying to be the word of caution, I guess. 30 goals, 7 assists from the 9 spot this year. That is phenomenally elite production.
So,
and you're talking about you're talking about moving off the guy who provided most of that. So
it's also, but like I agree, but are you going to sign him to a new contract then?
See now, and that's where.
Why are we even having the conversation?
Well, because you have him under contract for next year.
Yeah, you have him under contract for 1 more year on the salary that he's making. So do you get some money from him? You move off of him.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like that's the smart, it's the prudent thing to do.
And listen, again, I'm using Matthew Doyle's statistics here. The Sounders, on their end-line cutbacks, they have 3 players in the top 20. So very clearly the service that they are creating on the wingers is the most dangerous it could possibly be. So statistically speaking, if that is true and that bears out over a larger sample size, you could put anyone in there and they would be successful, because prime assist zones generate high quality chances.
But you
high
also
quality chances
you
generate
also have
high
to have
XG,
you have
and
to have
high
a striker.
XG generates more goals. And I'm just going by the stats. I'm a stats guy. Okay. I'm a stats guy.
Reese is saying you're cooking. You're not cooking with this. Like, yeah, that is all. Everything you said is just true. But you also need a striker who's got the movement and the instincts to capitalize on that. And Moose proved that he does. And you don't necessarily. The Osaze thing is like, I see what you're saying. Like, he came through in the big moments, and I do think that he showed that there's a lot of potential. But it's a very unproven commodity versus someone who just was your best goal scorer and showed that he can thrive in this system in all those ways all season, and never stopped. By the way, someone said that Moose like cooled off at one point. I don't think so. I think pretty much
he did have a run of games where he was not good. In the beginning of the season, he wasn't good.
Okay, beginning of the season, I would grant that. But every other time he was getting consistent run, he was bamming goals.
After his like what was it, like 5 or 6 games in a row where he scored? It was like 5 or 6, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. After that, he had like a 5-game run where he didn't score.
5-game run. I mean,
I don't know if it was 5 or 4. It was like he had a stretch where he couldn't score. Again, I don't think that's indicative of him as a total player. Jordan Morris would do the same thing. That's just strikers. But like, he did cool off at some points, but I don't really even think that's a good argument, right? Like,
because I think you got to look at the total body of work.
Yeah, but I just think that it's. I don't know why we're still arguing about it, because it's very.
I don't even really like. I'm mostly devil's advocating.
It's good content. I'm
mostly devil's advocating, but I do think I would argue it's not even just you. I think Nico, Jo, everyone. I'm the only one on this island making this point. I think
release the tapes. What do you have on this man?
I think the way you guys talk about it is very dismissive, and
listen,
it presupposes that like finding a striker who's going to have the season that Moose just had with like how hyper efficient and productive he was is like this super easy thing that you can just plug anyone in and they'll do the exact same thing. I wouldn't be positive about that. I just wouldn't. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, this is just an anecdote, and this is the last thing I'll say about this. When you're playing rec soccer, adult rec soccer, whatever, you put not the best guy up front, because you can't put him as a defender. He's a liability. You put your best players on the wing. You put that are fast and quick and can get good service in, and you put someone, probably your best player, at the number 10. And that's just the truth, Ari, because the quality of service is way more important than the quality of finisher. And yes, they have to know how to finish and they have to be cool, calm, and collected. But I think it's a lot less important when you're generating most of your opportunities and chances through the wide channels and through your number 10. And that's just the truth. Because
we'll in all likelihood get to find out next season, because I do think ultimately they're going to come to the conclusion that it just makes the most sense to try and get value for him now, and either give Osaze a bigger role or go out and get the U22 and give that
they're going to restart. They're going to keep him for I have this gut feeling Moose is back. Like, I don't know.
They exercised the option, which we knew they were going to have to do, even if they are going to move him on. But I mean, it does seem like the writing is on the wall, but they also they take things into account, like how is he in training? Does the locker room like him? Nico
says he's terrible in training, so
yeah, but Nico is he's a classic anti-Moose pundit. All right, like he's gonna say biased. That no matter what.
Biased.
He calls it Linsanity. That's fine. I'm happy to be the only one making this point. And if the Sounders can't score, if they end up in a situation where they have a number 9 that can't score next year, which if Jordan actually stays healthy and is playing that position for the majority of the minutes, I have no doubt that he can approach or probably exceed what Moose did this year. But I mean, you can't always bank on Jordan being healthy for an entire year. That's why the Moose signing ended up cooking so hard, and it ended up being like a huge storyline and a success story of this year, is because their starting striker wasn't healthy. So you never know what can happen.
You never know, chat.
All right, should we talk about some Ernst Tanner to
to
close it out?
Yeah,
that was the other thing on the docket.
That guy fucking sucks, man.
All right, yeah, let's talk about it, folks. The Philadelphia Union. Ever heard of them? Philly Union in the playoffs right now. They are roiled in scandal and turmoil because of an explosive report in The Guardian by Pablo Maurer. I'm going to pull up the headline. I'm not going to share his full article. I encourage you all to go read it. But MLS executive who built a powerhouse faced allegations of sexist, racist, and homophobic behavior. Philadelphia Union sporting director Ernst Tanner denies the allegations, which prompted a recently concluded MLS investigation that could not corroborate them. So this is obviously one of the biggest stories in the league right now. Just to give the context for people who might not know, I know not everyone follows the whole league as much as we do, but Ernst Tanner, sporting director, GM, Philadelphia Union. This isn't just like a random executive. This is one of the most revered, well-known, respected MLS executives in the league. He's considered by many to be the best executive in the league. He's got a global reputation for what he's done with the union. I think he's considered one of the best in the game, to be honest with you. Like, people all over the world look at what he's done with the union, on like balling on a budget, and he's considered like one of the best at it in the world. So again, it's not just like a random executive or a random employee. This is one of like the biggest dogs in the league who is now dealing with an insane scandal. And I mean, this is explosive. Go read the article. Encourage you all to read it. But I mean, you got sexism, you got racism, you got homophobia, a lot of stuff that he was reportedly doing. And Noah, I kind of wanted to talk about this from a lens of the reaction to it, and like what the reaction should be in these types of situations compared to what it actually is. And I think it's a good opportunity to kind of like talk about how journalism works because what I see in the reaction to these types of stories, not just about like sports executives, but people in power in general, it just demonstrates a lack of understanding of how journalism works. And you and I don't know how many people know this, but Noah and I, we both cut our teeth in like real journalism. We both went to school for it for varying extents. I switched my major, but we both studied it in school. We both have done a lot of like internships. I worked for Seattle PI. You've worked for a lot of news outlets.
I worked at the New York Times famously.
I took news writing 207. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was the sports editor for the Western Front. Ever heard of that reputable outlet? So I know how this stuff works a little bit, but I wanted to talk about the response first, because anytime you have a story like this, Noah, automatically it's like clockwork, so predictable. All the replies on Twitter, a lot of the discourse on Twitter, there's always the contingent of people that go right to fake news, didn't happen, this is made up. And I wanted to like use this story as a chance to like interrogate that how people react to it, because I think it's very telling, and I think it's important. I have some of these points written down. Okay, this is the stuff that I ask myself when I see a story like this to determine if it's credible or how much stock you should put in it. And these are questions everyone should ask themselves before you go to fake news, that didn't happen, this is a conspiracy. Before saying that categorically offhand, this is the stuff you should ask yourself. This is the stuff that I try and ask myself. Okay. Number one, who wrote it and what's the outlet? Does the person who wrote it have a reputation for dishonest reporting, making stuff up, being the type of journalist that disseminates bad information? Does the outlet that they're writing for have a similar type sensationalist reputation? Or do they disseminate misinformation? In this case, you got Pablo Maurer writing it for The Guardian, right? Pablo Maurer, anyone who's been on soccer Twitter since 2010 knows who he is. He's been doing this shit for a long time. I've never heard anything to indicate that he's the type of reporter who would make something up without any sourcing on it. Next thing I ask myself is, what is the sourcing in the article actually like? Who did he talk to? What people were giving quotes on this? What were they saying? And like, how many were there? Okay, in this case, you read the article, right? 8 allegations from 17 different sources. All right.
Getting corroboration from 2 sources is good. 3 sources, best practice. Corroboration of a pattern from 17 sources, that's like, there's no undeniable in journalism. You will always say allegedly because that's the way that it works, but that's as pretty damn good as you're going to get.
Well, okay. And so this is where I get to like, when you say fake news or dismiss it categorically out of hand without ever reading the article. Okay. That's your reaction. But if that's where you want to take it, I think the next thing you have to ask yourself is just like, does it make sense that there is a 17 source conspiracy spearheaded by a reporter who has no reputation for making shit up or using fake sources? Does it make sense that 17 people conspired with him to concoct a hit piece filled with totally false allegations? Why? To take down the sporting director of the Philadelphia Union? If you're going to say it's fake news and that it didn't happen and it's all a conspiracy, you got to explain why. You got to explain why 17 people would come to Pablo Maurer and say that. I'm sorry, like, no shade. No one gives a shit enough about the Philadelphia Union to come up with a random conspiracy theory out of nowhere with 17 people to take down the general manager. Like, including Major League Soccer directly stating that they did investigate this and that these allegations did come to their attention at some point. Right. So 6 of the 8 in the article were reported already to the PA. And yeah, and the Major League Soccer Players Association, a union who, again, why would they lose any leverage to go and bring something to Major League Soccer if it weren't credible? So that's what I'm saying is, like, before you jump to conspiracy, fake news, all that stuff, read the article. I know this is like that's a very novel concept to a lot of people. Read the article, think about who wrote it, think about the outlet it's in, look at what the sourcing is. Does the sourcing seem credible? How many sources are there? Is there a motive for anyone to conspire against the subject of the article in question to try and, like, take them down? What would that motive be? Do you have any evidence that you've seen or can give that supports that it's a hit piece conspiracy? Another thing too, I try and look at, like, how the person in question acts in the aftermath. You can tell sometimes just by reading the statements they put out, or if they do interviews, watch their demeanor. But in this case, Ernst Tanner in the Philly Union, they put out a statement where he denies it, but that's pretty much it, and they don't say anything else. Noah, if I was the victim of a 17 source conspiracy perpetuated by a rogue reporter, and I actually did nothing wrong, it was all totally fabricated, and I didn't do it, I don't think I would be putting out like a wishy-washy boilerplate comms statement. I know that he can't be man about towning for the media, but man, 17-person conspiracy, I would be talking to any outlet that would listen. If I really, like, didn't do anything, I would say that's bullshit, didn't happen. I don't know where this is coming from, but that is literally not something that's ever happened in my, you act like someone who is falsely persecuted, right? I mean, for sure. I mean, your lawyer will hate you, but yes, lawyers. I know you can't do that, but honestly, then, like, I don't know. I just didn't think the statement. It wasn't like a full-throated denial. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a good statement. So anyway, point is, I'll just give my opinion after thinking about who wrote it, thinking about the outlet, looking at the sourcing, reading the article. I mean, you can go through it yourself. There's just all kinds of crazy stuff in here. He called a referee the homophobic F word. In front of a bunch of people. Yeah, that was another thing that struck me about it, is like how brazen some of it was. He called a referee the homophobic F word while he was sitting in the stands surrounded by people who, I guess, there was no reason why, like, any of them sitting there would have known who he was. But then, of course, like, how do you think that's not going to, like, come out at some point that you did that? He told Tori Penso, female MLS referee, that women don't belong in men's soccer, and he told academy players they should never worry about a referee unless she's a woman. Another report spoke about black players like they were subhuman and suggested that black referees lack intelligence and capability. You touched a coworker inappropriately numerous times, hired an underqualified coach who was abusive towards. It's like, are we 17 people all got together and just made all that stuff up for no reason, just to take down the sporting director of the Philadelphia Union?
No,
I just don't see it. And it's a long way of saying that this looks really bad for Ernst Tanner. Like, this is very thoroughly well-researched, well-sourced reporting that paints a picture of a lot of people who work at the Philly Union who feel like this has created like a very toxic, negative, and hostile work environment, and they're fed up with it, and they spoke with Pablo about it because they think it's bullshit. And to me, it just seems like, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do here, but it's the type of thing where when we're talking about stuff like this, you're probably getting fired. That's just the reality, and you deserve it. If like, just read the article and tell me that you can come up to any different conclusion. I do know that there is always a contingent of people as well who will say, oh, well, even if you did say that, like, these people being sensitive, this is like political correctness, cancel culture, they do a little cancel culture argument. If you're arguing that stuff, you're A, an idiot, B, just like a terrible person. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that is, if you're arguing that end of it, that's tough. That's a tough look. And unfortunately, there are always people who are going to argue that. But I literally don't give that even any oxygen at all, or the time of day at all. Because that's not even worth the time to discuss. But anyway, that's what I think of it, Noah. I wanted to touch on just like the journalistic aspect of it too, because it just pisses me off when you see the replies to Pablo's tweet, and that you already see people. I saw one guy who was tweeting like, awfully convenient that this would happen while the Philadelphia Union are in the playoffs, isn't it? Someone's coming up with this to sabotage the Philadelphia Union's playoff run. If you're going to say shit like that, you got to explain why. You got to explain why, and then give evidence to that effect. Otherwise, shut the fuck up. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. I've been cooking. You're go
ditching.
Ahead.
No, it's fine. I will say first and foremost, like, what is alleged is so brazen and so public and so like disgusting that it's very clear that his pedigree enabled him to do this, that his success enabled him to do this more and more. And it's not just one person. It's not just one person. The person is obviously committing these horrible, horrible, horrible acts. But the reality is there's a structure around him protecting him. And that's the problem. That's way bigger than an individual incident. It's the fact that someone like that can be doing this for years in front of high-ranking MLS officials, in front of wealthy people, and be protected the whole way. This is disgusting. And I wish that I could say this was the first time that this happened in this league, but it's not. A very similar thing happened in Portland. Very similar. And, some people got fired, some things changed a little bit, but there were people left in the wake of that. And it's happening again. It's happening again. It's disgusting. And the fact that you have someone like this, and you can read the article again, everyone should read the article. The reality is, like, these people don't even want to talk about it on record with their name because they know even after he gets fired, they have no way of being anyone in this league anymore, because this is the type of shit that you have to tolerate to move up the ladder or to keep your job or to do all of this. And I just think,
can I read a quote to illustrate that effect? This is from one of the sources in Pablo's article. They said 100% you can get blacklisted for speaking publicly about any of this. This is a small world, added another, and not just MLS. It's easy to get a reputation as someone who speaks out about stuff like this, and it will cost you your job, not just where you are presently. It will follow you around every league in the country. That is like the overarching issue here, I think.
Yeah. It's horrible. And so, I mean, like, I obviously don't have a solution to this because it's been happening. It's happened before. It's happening now. It will continue to happen. But the reality is like, this man and everyone involved with him should not only be fired, but they should be blacklisted from ever participating in sports ever again. I mean, if the allegations are true, this dude is like an actual pest, like an actual evil person.
It's just such wild. Like, I'm reading this, and the thing that comes to my head is like, is it that hard to just like act like a normal person? Like, all you have to do is act like a normal person, treat people with a basic baseline of respect like anyone else would, and fucking run the Philadelphia Union, and no one's ever going to tell you anything.
No one's going to remember you, Ernst Tanner. No one's going to remember you. Your own actions will be your own demise. You're a fucking loser. You're a fucking loser. You are. You've never won anything. You've won a shield. You've won a shield. They showed him in this article. There's a whole big graph about how he's been this super successful, blah, blah. I don't even think he's successful. I think the reality is he has protected himself and put himself in this position, and he's a fucking asshole, and he's a terrible person, and he should say that shit to my face. He should say that shit to my face. Ernst Tanner, if you really feel that way, you should say the shit that you said in those private conversations. Say that shit to my face. See what the fuck happens. I'm just saying, you're a pussy and you're hiding behind all of these, your status and all of this stuff. You're now going to be unemployed, and I'm going to cheer it on because you're a terrible person. You're a terrible person. Say that shit to my face. I'm telling you. Come on. I'm telling you.
We'll see.
Let's go.
We'll see if they actually fire him. He's on administrative leave right now while they reopen the investigation. I think it's bizarre that an investigation supposedly already took place that like couldn't corroborate it. And then, but it's just like,
the MLS is protecting him.
Read the article. Like, there's 17 sources and 8 different, I was just like,
well, I mean, the reality is the process that MLS probably goes through forces these people, these victims, to go on record using their name, and it probably goes in a file somewhere. And the reality is, it's not a tight ship. Like they say, this is a very small industry. If you report something, that's going to get out. I promise you that.
They have an anonymous hotline, supposedly.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
But like, man. I think, the problem is people don't want to use that because they like don't trust it. They don't believe
Never
it.
Trust HR, bro. Never trust HR.
So like, I mean, it's a good idea in theory. It's just not, there's the trust factor isn't there for people to actually want to use that and feel like they can actually remain.
Well, and it's not like they're protected. Like, if, let's say, the league gets sued for a wrongful termination lawsuit, the people who made those statements to the league, which then they would have used as a reason to fire them, could be subpoenaed, put on the stand, and then you're out in the public again. Like, there's no way of protecting yourself. Again, the problem is this is like such a systematic issue of the way that these people are treated, and the way that like these powerful people are legitimately just like being evil and getting away with it, and you have to turn the other cheek and walk away because, God forbid. This happens with players too. This has happened in MLS where players treat staff members in incredibly terrible ways, and they just got to walk away. You can't say anything. There's like such a crazy power dynamic in sports. It's just like, I think this is like a microcosm of it. Obviously, I don't have a solution, but I do think that it's just like insane. Like, the type of shit that you have to put up with and deal with to work in professional sports already. And then added on to that, you have to deal with this fucking loser. Do you know how hard these people work to get into professional sports? Insanely hard. You have to work so insanely hard. You have to dedicate your weekends, your weekdays, all of this stuff. Everyone I know who works in Major League Soccer, yourself included, works their ass off and is never compensated enough for what they do, and they've given up a lot of their life to do this, and they have to be treated like this. Like, this man is evil. This man is evil. This man is evil, and I think more people should be protesting the league if to do something swift.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. When did this report drop? This was 2 days ago, and he's still employed by the Philadelphia Union. So we'll see how long that lasts. But I mean, we'll be tracking it. It's obviously a one of the bigger stories in the league right now. It is like the Philly Union are in the playoffs right now, and it was seeing people like, I don't know, just stay off Twitter.
That's a good shout. Just always.
It reminded reading the responses to like Pablo's tweet in the discourse. I was like, oh, that's why I got out of here. This is brutal. But I don't know. Any other Ernst takes? I feel like I've pretty much said my piece. I encourage everyone to actually go read the article. Go read the article and then assess for yourself whether or not you think it's credible. But if you're going straight towards discounting all of it and calling it fake news and a conspiracy, that's not good enough unless you can actually come with the receipts, come with the evidence, and explain like why that would happen. That's
I don't think people understand the level at which a publication, especially The Guardian, would go to make sure that these sources are vetted and verified. Yes, libel litigation in the United States is very hard to prove, and even if it is malicious in intention, it's just like incredibly hard to prove, and it often doesn't go anywhere. That doesn't mean that newspapers want to pay the millions of dollars in legal fees that it costs to deal with libel lawsuits from people who have a lot of money. They are not going to put out something like this purely on a business basis if it is not verified. I promise you that. As someone who has worked at these big papers, I promise you that.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk about that too. Just like the idea of a journalist who totally like makes up sources or makes up anonymous sources. I think anytime people see an anonymous source, they immediately are like, well, if it's anonymous, then it can just be dismissed offhand. But the reality is, journalists with reputations for being accurate, they don't do that, and they can't do that, because if you do that and it comes out that you did that, then guess what? You're not a journalist anymore. No one trusts you.
No one trusts you.
You're chalked. You're done. That does not mean that you should blindly believe everything that every news outlet reports. Of course, there are outlets that are propagandists, and there are like corrupted journos out there that do make shit up.
Just get shit wrong.
Make shit up, or just get stuff wrong. That happens as well. So
famously WMDs.
But like the notion of like, again, you have to assess it on a case by case basis, and like look who wrote the article. The idea that Pablo Maurer would be just making up sources willy-nilly for no reason because he has an axe to grind with Ernst Tanner, that's not a thing. That does like, if you look at his track record and his reputation, that's not a thing.
If he had problems with him, he'd chirp him on Twitter. He wouldn't write a scathing, like an interview, and risk his whole career. That's stupid. He's not dumb.
It's stupid, but it's something that people were saying was happening here. And
we gotta stop. We gotta stop going on Twitter.
Yeah, that's
everything
another
app
lesson from here. But
yeah.
All right. Let's we got 2 super chats. I'll hit these. Noah, you're free to take off. I had a couple of USMNT takes I wanted to get out there. I wasn't going to spend too much longer on that, but if you have interest in that, you can hang around for another 15, 20, or you can tell me to fuck off and talk about the USMNT by myself.
I don't want to poke the hornet's nest of USMNT for your own good, because they will come and clip whatever I have to say and put it online, and then I will get more death threats from them. So I will let you do that. But we've been
going for 2.5 hours. Honestly, I might just no. I wanted to talk about it. I'll stay on and do it. A good one. I think this is our LAFC friend. Thank you for the $2. The other one you starred was Reese's take about the strikers. So
oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to. Yeah,
it says Ari Peso Areso, what is your happy/sad foot? About what is my
just everything that's happening right now.
About everything.
Sad foot. The story we just talked about.
That's it really, like, anytime shit like this happens, not just in our league, but any league, it's
just in life, man. Like, what are we doing? Have some decency.
That is a sad foot. Happy foot. I thought the Georgie and Moose discourse tonight was good.
Oh, yeah, that was heat.
That was heat. Like, it's always that those debates are going to heat up all off season too. So I'm glad we laid the groundwork for that. Do you have a happy foot?
Happy foot. I tried Nerds Gummy Clusters, the Very Berry version for the first time today, and they're like better than the OG, like the pink package one. These are like real good. So I'm like a Nerds Clusters fan, but these are even better.
Pull that up again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've had those.
Yeah.
Oh, gummy clusters.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'll have to buy you a package. I'll buy you some. I'll buy you some.
I'm not a huge candy guy.
Bro, Bob Lewis is agreeing. The gummy clusters.
Hell yeah.
Gummy clusters. I'm telling you, look, they're better than the original. I didn't believe it at first. But yeah. So
I'm gonna have to give them a try. Did they used to have clusters that weren't gummy?
They had Nerd Ropes.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
They might still have those, but
that kind of gives me Nerd Ropes.
It's
vibes.
Nerd Ropes, but they're even better because like they're like I don't know, something about it. It's just like better.
Sick. All right. That was a good happy foot, sad foot to close it off. Thanks, Juan. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right. I'll let you get out of here and I'll cook USMNT discourse and then call it a night. We've been going 2.5 hours, but it's the last show before we take a week off for the holidays. So I'll hang out with you guys for a little bit longer. Noah, thanks for tapping in. Good shit.
Of course. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye, Ari. Have a good Thanksgiving. I'll probably see you before then, but
yeah.
Also, Ari saved my ass, I have to say. He helped me kill a bunch of ants in my apartment.
I did,
and saved my life. So I just wanted to give a big.
Are they all dead?
Foot is Ari.
They're all dead now, right?
They're all dead, dude. Like they're dead. Like there's hundreds of carcasses. Like I maybe tried at The Hague for what I did to those ants.
Okay, we got one more from Hunch here before you go, Noah.
Okay, yeah, I like this.
What are you most thankful for this Sounders 2025 year? I like this question.
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, we talked a lot about at the end of this. What?
I know mine.
All right, you go first.
The culmination of everything that we have created as a podcast, as two friends, as just like the shit that we joke about. What started this podcast with Paul Rothrock and just a joke, literally morphing into him being compared to Lionel Messi, scoring the walk-off to lift a trophy ahead of Leo Messi, and celebrating in one of the most iconic, just like lion roar rages of all time, and proving Brian Schmetzer's quote of, yeah, they have Messi, but we have Paul Rothrock, switching out Messi jerseys for like everything about that day, everything about the Leagues Cup final day was what I have been waiting my entire life for.
It's hard to argue with that one. I'll go a little more broad than that. The thing I'm most thankful for the 2025 year is how the team this year, and you know, this is kind of restating stuff we've already talked about, but how the team this year gave us so many games and so many moments that just like, you know, we're all gonna remember forever. And of course the Leagues Cup final like stands out, but like to me it's like the little moments too, you know, like the Christ Red or like the whole bit of the crash art red card boys. That's like a negative for the team, but it's like funny, and like we get enjoyment out of stuff like that, even if it's like at the expense of results sometimes, which makes the negative results hurt less. I mean, I could go down the list, man. Like of the Club World Cup, that was incredible. That's like unique type of stuff that you don't get to do every year that we're going to remember forever. And there's just so many moments I could name that I was thankful for in 2025 that not every team, not every fan base, not every podcast like gets to do the type of stuff that we got to do, that gets to go to the types of games that we got to go to, gets to cover like a final against Lionel Messi, that the team you're covering wins 3-0, like with the Rothrock storyline. Like I'm thankful for all of that, man. Like
summer.
You can have bad seasons, you can have boring seasons, you can have seasons where we're going to be covering the games every single week anyway. But this season, 2025, was a banger. Like there's no question about it. And that's I don't take that for granted. Like in another dimension or reality, we're sitting like in Atlanta or DC. Sorry, I don't mean to throw shade. Those are just the two of the worst teams from this last year. And we're sitting there like, I listen to the outlets in the podcast that cover those teams, and they literally, like, God love them, they're doing the Lord's work. But like, it's like every week they're like, oh, yep, that's a 4-1 L. Oh, that's another 3-0 L. Oh, another, like, some teams have to do that. And we didn't have to do that this year, and I'm thankful for that.
Same.
Hunch wants me to keep going down the list. I was trying to go down the
list. I'm gonna go.
All right, later, Noah.
Love you, chat. We'll see y'all later.
All right, I'll keep going down the list. I have to get out of here. I have to look at the schedule from last year, though, because I don't remember what games happened when. That'll jog my memory. CONCACAF Champions Cup wasn't that memorable, was it? There was the Antigua series, but then the Cruz Azul series was tragic. The Club World Cup was so awesome. I'm thankful for the Club World Cup. I was thinking about how I think we noted this at the time, but I think the group that Seattle got to play in at the Club World Cup, they benefited so much more from playing in that group against the teams that they had to play and not getting out of the group than I would argue Inter Miami did getting out of the group, but not getting to play teams like Atletico Madrid, PSG, and Botafogo. When it came out that was happening, I was like, oh man, I mean, that's sick, but they're probably just going to get rolled on, and that's not going to be all that fun to watch. But then the way it panned out, like watching them, everything about like watching how the team approached playing teams like that, playing games against teams like that, and then going out there and competing that the way that they did, that was special to watch. Even though they didn't make it out of the group, they didn't win a game, but like they got to play a couple of the best teams in the world, and really Botafogo, like best team in South America last year. Yes, thank you, Tribe. The De La Vega Puskas. The De La Vega Puskas. And honestly, the whole 7-0 over Cruz Azul, that's one. Hunch, thank you for the super chat, brother. Appreciate your support as always. Happy Thanksgiving all. Love the community and comments. Never stop sounding your voice. Amen to that. It was a great season. I don't like the only argument against it being a great season is how the playoffs ended. But honestly, like, I'm past that. Past it. It happened. It was unfortunate. It does not take the shine off what they did in Leagues Cup. Doesn't take the shine off the fact that they were one of the best attacking teams in the league this year. Which wasn't that. I'm okay. That's something I'm thankful for. Anyone who listened to our show dating back to what year did we start this? 2023. Yeah, like halfway through 2023. Anyone who was listening to the first 30 or 40 episodes of Lobbing Scorchers remembers every week we would record our show and we would be like, God, this team really can't score goals, can they? The whole bit, you guys, the OGs remember this. The whole bit was like, can the Seattle Sounders score multiple goals in an MLS game? We would say that every week. We would take bets. Are they going to score one or more than one? They're probably not going to score more than one. And then they never did. And basically what we would talk about every week is like how the offense was lifeless, stale, boring, unproductive, tough to watch. They were still grinding out results and doing okay in the league because the defense was really good, but it just was not fun or enjoyable or attractive attacking soccer at all. And during those dog days, there was a point where it was like the future of the club seemed, it's like, do they have to blow this up? Like how, like there's no way it can be this hard to score a goal in an MLS game as they're making it look and have been making it look for months. And even that season, it got a little better in the second half of the season and the stretch run. There was one period of that season where Rusnak and Morris got really hot and was like, okay, like maybe this offense isn't that bad. But then it turned out that 1-2 punch was all they had. And if they weren't scoring, then they kind of, that was it. Didn't really have anything else in the bag. And going into this season, I think it was a question as to whether this would be like a good team offensively. It would be a good team, like a team that could score a lot of goals and really kind of shed the reputation of being this like defense first team that has to grind out 1-0, 2-1 victories. It was going to take a big leap for them to go to where they were at that point to like what they ended up doing this year. So, you know, as much discourse as there was about the transfer window and like they didn't sign a U22 number 9 and all that, I'll take the offense that they played this year any year, man. It's the 87 goals, but like there was a lot of stretches of the season where it was a pleasure to watch them play footy. They were slicing and dicing, really good in transition. 7-0ing the best team in Liga MX. So, I mean, just the simple fact that they took a meaningful step in 2025 into a really potent, dynamic, and productive offense. I'm so thankful for that. Part of the reason we got so many good moments were because they were cooking. They were playing really good attacking ball. They were scoring a shit ton of goals. The Nuhu goal, good shout, Tribe, good shout. Cruz Azul community also created a great 7-11 meme based on this result. Yeah, the media coverage in Mexico of the 7-0. Oh, into my veins. Inject it. That shit was so funny. Under the lights is where this community is at, the true blue and green. Yeah, exactly. It is funny like how it's like two different crowds, the kickoff crowd and the under the lights crowd. The under the lights crowd, this is my crowd. No shade to the kickoff crowd, but this is just where the sickos reside, and I'm a sicko, so I relate to that. The Portland win, thank God. I wasn't there for that, which was sad. Portland win, but also ending the whole storyline of the Timbers owning the rivalry. We never shied away from it. We never shied away from it when the results were all going the Timbies' way for like 3 or 4 years. If you lose that many games to the Timbies, especially at home, there's kind of just no way to deny that. They were getting the better of it. That's over. That's over. Seattle has beat them a couple times the last few times they played. And then also just the trajectory of their team. It's like you combine how poorly their playoff run went with the fact that Seattle actually has been able to get the better of them finally in the last. I think they beat them in Portland last year. They beat them in Seattle this year, tied in Portland this year. It's just that the whole Timbies owning it thing is done. And you know how I knew it was done is because when I watched that game, the game they played in Seattle back, so much of the issue with the Timbies owning the rivalry was just down to like intensity, energy, wanting it more, playing like it's a derby, playing like it's a rivalry match. They were on top of that for a lot of the games over the last few years. Schmetz even said it himself. You guys remember that? That's one of the more famous Red Hot Schmetz pressers when they lost in Portland like a year and a half ago or whatever that was, where he was like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, basically. Like, is this a rivalry? Like my players aren't acting like it. The staff's not acting like it. We got to change that. And they did. Thankful for that as well. Honestly, man, I feel like I was going to do USMNT, but I feel like just going through our favorite moments and talking about like the Sounders season is almost like a better way to end it. There'll be time for USMNT punditry. I'll say this because we're taking next week off, so I probably won't get a chance to get my takes on the Uruguay game, so I'm going to do that now. All right, Tribe, I'll do both. So on kickoff this week, I was talking to Nico about the USMNT Paraguay friendly and how it looked like a different team than I'd ever seen under Pochettino. They only beat Paraguay 2-1, but I was watching that game and I was like, something feels different about how this team is playing. Like kind of similar to what I was saying about Seattle, Portland, just like the energy, the intensity, like the playing for the badge aspect of it. It was there in a way that it really hadn't been under Pochettino, but also just like anyone for a while. I was just struck by how hard they were playing, how on top of Paraguay they were, the quality of the chances they were generating, how they were all playing together, how they were playing like dogs out there. It's like, damn, I mean, look, as someone who's been like one of the number one clowners of Pochettino, I had to give him his due. So I gave him his due on kickoff. And then, but I gave the qualifier. I said, they got a tougher, they closed this window against Uruguay. That's a much better team than Paraguay. Let's, I don't want to overstate it. So let's see how they do in that game. If they beat Uruguay, then I'll really have to be like, all right, something's going on here. Can they beat Uruguay? I wasn't sure. I don't know that much about their team, but I know that they're always one of the best teams in the world at any given time. So I wasn't sure what to expect. And sure enough, they went out there on Tuesday. Yeah, it was on Tuesday. They went out there on Tuesday. They beat the shit out of Uruguay. Like, clowned on them. It wasn't even a game. To the point where I was like, there's got to be some reason that this doesn't count. This has got to be Uruguay's like C squad. Or so they must have a ton of injuries. Like, this doesn't make sense. No. If anything, it was the US's B and C squad against that was pretty much their A squad. I looked it up. I don't know that much about their A squad, but best I could tell, that was not like a second choice rotated lineup. They had guys out there who play for Barcelona, Tottenham, Napoli, Club America. There's a couple guys on Club America. World-class players. And the USMNT beat the shit out of them. And how did they beat the shit out of them? Who led the way? Who led the way? Because this is what I wanted to talk about with this. How did the USMNTC squad beat the shit out of Uruguay? Who were the star players who delivered that? Was it Christian Pulisic? Was it Tim Weah? Was it Weston McKennie? Was it Tyler Adams? Had to have been those guys, right? The golden generation? Had to be the golden generation. No. Those guys weren't even there. Pulisic is a documentary filmmaker and a podcaster. I don't know what he's doing. Tyler Adams is hurt. Weston's back at Juventus. They have a new coach, I guess. So he's trying to impress the new coach. The golden generation wasn't there other than Gio Reyna. No, the guys that beat the shit out of Uruguay were Sebastian Berhalter, Alex Freeman, and Diego Luna. And I would be remiss not to mention Christian Roldan did not play that much in the Uruguay game, but he did play in the Paraguay game, and he was fantastic. So all of this, I'm like, we've talked about how Pochettino is kind of partial to MLS players in a way that we kind of didn't expect, or not partial, but I mean, you guys, he's given multiple press conferences now, where he's not even getting asked about it, and he just comes out swinging. He's basically like, MLS has so much to contribute to the national team, and anyone who dismisses it out of hand just because it's the domestic league is a fucking idiot and they don't know what they're talking about. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't exactly say that, but that's not that an exaggerated of a representation of what he was saying. And he did that 2 or 3 times, played super hard offense on the pro MLS talking point, which is, how long have we been a show? 2+ years at this point. We've been saying that for years. Noah and I've been saying that dating back way before Lobbing Scorchers even existed. Not that only MLS players should get called in, or that MLS is the greatest league in the world, but just that the QSMNT notion that all MLS players suck, and anytime something bad happens to the national team, it's all because of the domestic players and no other reason. And so there's all this toxic discourse surrounding those players. That's always been bullshit. Always. Every second of it. And Pochettino clearly has some sort of pulse on that discourse, because I just thought it was funny. He's literally saying the stuff that we say. He called Christian Roldan the perfect player. It's yeah. I mean, Cook, Poch. I didn't expect you to come to that realization as quickly as we all did in Seattle, but goddamn, okay. But the fact that he has given opportunities to Christian, Diego Luna, Seb Berhalter, Alex Freeman, and he goes to bat for those guys, and he's put them in a position to succeed. He's instilled an identity. He's given them defined roles. He's clearly got everyone on the same page. But look what happens when you have a coach who does that. Right? Maybe it wasn't about the quality of MLS or the players from MLS. Maybe it was that a lot of the players weren't given clear roles, didn't know what they were supposed to be doing tactically. Christian, for years, he was just getting kind of thrown out there without a position, without any direction. And then when he didn't look super great, he would get mercilessly skewered for it by a lot of stupid people. Pochettino gave him an opportunity, played him at his correct position, and clearly, like, just believes in him in a way where, like, that's such an important part of coaching. Just putting a player in a position to succeed. It sounds simple, but Christian never has had that with the national team until now. And look what happens. He played so well against Australia and against Paraguay that even the bots can't deny it. Like, go look. Like, obviously, there's a few USMNTers out there that are still going to hold on to their anti-Christian priors forever. There's nothing you can do to save those people or reach those people. But most of the bots had to begrudgingly admit. I mean, he's been making plays that you can't deny. He had 2 assists against Australia. He and Diego Luna were the guys that created the game winner against Paraguay by pressing and winning the ball back. 2 MLS guys. And it's so Christian's one example, but it's not just him, man. Look at Berhalter. Sebastian Berhalter. The competition going on right now in these D-mid spots is really, it's fun to watch. Christian is battling out with Seb Berhalter and Aiden Morris. I think there's one other guy in there that I'm not remembering. But all of them are playing well. Berhalter looked just as good as Christian in these games. Berhalter looked incredible against Uruguay. He was like the best player on the field. The set piece he scored was incredible, but he is so good, man. He you know who he reminds me of is Obed, actually. Seb Berhalter and Obed, I feel like, are pretty similar. Just skill set wise and like what positive attributes that they have. But god damn, that kid looked good. And Christian and Seb Berhalter both made best 11 in MLS this year. So it's the 2 best players in the league at that position. But that doesn't like guarantee success at the national team level. And clearly, I mean, look, man, Pochettino, I got to give the credit. Tanner Tessman. Thank you, Jake. Tanner Tessman, who I've also clowned on at different times. He looked really good against Uruguay. Or maybe that was the Paraguay game. I don't know. Tanner Tessman was hooping out there. I honestly, if you told me there was one roster spot between Christian, Seb Berhalter, and Tanner Tessman, I don't know who I would give it to. That's how good they all look. So I don't want to overstate it in the sense that this was just a 2-game window. It was just 2 games. But even off these two games, I'm pretty much there as far as being like, I got to take the L on Pochettino. He's clearly a good coach. It's obvious. I think he when I look at his selections to the player pool, I'm like, this man knows ball. Like, I can't. You're telling me that you're calling in and giving feature roles to Christian Roldan, Diego Luna, Sebastian Berhalter. That's like 3 members of the Lobbing Scorchers all-time best 11. Like, we love all 3 of those guys. The ball knowledge is off the charts. take a moment to acknowledge how credible it is that Poch is our coach and not the high school looking ass coach. It's honestly like as bad as it started. It was funny. It started like, let's be real. The Pochettino era started off very bad. It started off very bad, and he was swinging in his press conferences. He was like, this is a process. You guys just got to give it time. Get off my shit. Like I'm working on it. I'll get this fixed. And I mean, I know for a fact Noah and I were sitting here like, okay, buddy, good luck with that. Good luck with that. The squad looks terrible. I made a lot of fun of him and them. Clowned on him a lot. Clowned on the players a lot. But one thing that I did say and that I was consistent on the whole time was I think I said a lot, like, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Go out there and win some games. Play well. Score goals. Like, don't look like this, whatever it was at that time. And they're doing that. They're doing that right now. It wasn't just the results, man. I'm telling you, if you didn't watch those games, if you only saw the highlights and you didn't get to like see the game when it was happening, it looked and felt different than any USMNT I've watched in the last couple years, the Paraguay game and the Uruguay game, to like an alarming extent, where I was sitting there like, what team am I watching right now? You know? And I don't know. I just think it's very indicative of like what good coaching actually is. Is it X's and O's? Yeah. But especially at like the international level, it's like the man management, but also just like kind of having a pulse on what situations your players are going to succeed in and then putting them in those situations. That's like not easy to do, clearly. And I think he's doing that, and it's working, and it's changed the whole vibes around the program. Like I gotta say, I'm ready to, I might have to just take my L on that. I was sure he was a bunk ass coach. I didn't really follow him when he was coaching Tottenham. To me, when I saw how his USMNT tenure started, I was like, oh, this guy was just, whatever success he had at Tottenham was probably due to the players he had and not the coach he is, which I admit that was probably ignorant. That was coming from the perspective of someone who doesn't really follow Tottenham at all and knew nothing about him as a coach. But now, like, getting to watch him in action and how he does it and how he's handled it, I have to be like, damn, that's a good ass coach. He's a good ass coach. Does he stay for the next World Cup 2030? If they keep playing this well, first of all, if they keep playing this well, they're gonna do some shit at the World Cup that people actually like notice. I think. I don't know if it'll change the way people view U.S. soccer, like Greg Berhalter used to say. But if they play like that at the World Cup, like it's gonna help the perception. And if that's the case, he's gonna get a ton of good press for it. He's going to get a lot of adulation. And I think they should, I mean, they got to do whatever it takes to keep that guy, honestly, which is so funny coming from me. Like, I fully recognize the about face I'm doing on it, but it's not like about trying to do an about face. Like, I always try to admit if I'm wrong. All right. Not too proud to admit if I swing and miss on a take. I swung and missed on that. The dude is a guru. All right. We just cooked for 3 hours. I'm going to take off. Thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. Banger stream. Great schedule reaction. Enjoyed going down memory lane there at the end. We are out of commission until I get back from Oregon, where my family's at. I leave on Sunday. I return the next Sunday. No kickoff on Monday. Definitely no Under the Lights on Thanksgiving evening. Hopefully you guys are okay with no under the lights on Thanksgiving evening. I will be with my family eating turkey. So a week-long break, but the Monday after I get back, we'll do a stream. We'll see if Nico's available for it, but we'll do kickoff, and then we'll play it by ear from there. But I know Noah was talking about taking some holiday time off. He can do that. I'm probably not going to do that. I only know one way to live, and that's on the grind. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you all. I'm thankful for all of you, because I've said that we would be doing this show regardless if no one watched or no one listened, and that is true. But having people watch and listen to it, that's the real thing that makes it the show that it is. We would be doing it for ourselves because it's fun no matter what. But having like this community that we've created, who tap in to all the shows all season and participate and interact, give super chats. We love and appreciate all of you. And what it does too is it motivates us to keep going, to keep trying to build this thing even bigger and better than we were already able to get it this season. Which it was funny earlier when I was talking about, I was like, how long have we been a show? I was like, two-ish years. That's not that long. And look where we're at. So I got to thank and credit all you guys for that. Hope you all have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Eat some turkey, hang with the family, and I'll see you on the flip side. I will catch you Monday, November 20, whatever that is. Till then, I'm out of here. Peace.
Some people come to Lumen Field for the tactics, for the soccer, the atmosphere, and some come for Paul Rothrock's hair. Me personally, I come for both, because I have agendas to push. Live soccer isn't just better, it's way more personal. From making friends to becoming the guy in your section that's just constantly yelling about advanced statistics. Get tickets to any Sounders match by visiting lobbingscorchers.com/tickets. You support the pod, our agendas, the vibes, and the chaos.